It's my duty to please the booty.
And Murls got mad at me, the coach said, he goes, Jesus Christ, why don't you just work 2 nights? And I went, okay.
Switch, Nicole.
Please never do that.
Yep. So.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 463 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka, here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's going on, gang? NHL hockey back in less than 2 weeks. We have another division preview for you on tap today. A huge jam-packed show, so let's say hi to the boys first. Once again, across the pond in Sweden, Matt Murley, the Mur. What's shaking, buddy?
What's going on? Still father of one, could be father 2 by the time this drops. It could happen any minute. Biz, I want to take my name out of the running as an alternate for the Big Deal Selects. I pulled a hammy on the treadmill today, sprinting.
No.
Not in good shape, just showing my age. I got to stop doing the sprints.
Boy, did you stretch at all?
No, I
God,
did.
no. So you got on the treadmill and just started running?
No, I did walk. Like I did actually our walk that you did, the 12 incline times 3 speed. I did that for 20 minutes. Then I jogged for 10, and then I got into the 30 sprints, and it didn't feel good.
And then
Immediately, grabbed it.
I'm like,
Did you feel a pop?
No, not bad. Like I stopped before it got too bad, but I just confirmed that I'm not a Big Deal Select anymore.
Well, so what happens if, let's say, in 6-7 days, her water breaks? Are you still coming to Chiclets Cup? Like, have you talked to your wife about this?
Yeah, we've had discussions. It's going to be by the hour. If it's a certain hour before, I'm coming. If not, I'm not coming. So I think the baby's due. It almost came. I think it's coming. It's going to be plenty of time. I'll be at Chiclets Cup.
How do you know that? From a certain way that the baby's kicking? Like from what her like temperature rises? How do you know that?
There's been some like little contractions and stuff, and like last night she thought maybe it was coming, so I feel like I could get pulled out here right now, I think. And
so you're not doing a home birth. Whit, you did a home birth, your second one, right?
Yes, Wyatt was born in this house.
So what'd you do? You like fill up?
What did I do? I think I told the story. I was in the shower with my wife with his head coming out of her vagina, ready to deliver him myself. And the woman, the midwife, sprinted in with her jacket on and ran in the shower, and we carried her into bed.
So you don't do like a blow up little pool or something. Sometimes people do the little blow up pools, right?
No, there's a blow up pool. There's a blow up pool.
Oh, okay.
And so she got me up at like 5 a.m. She's like, it was crazy.
Are you like,
buddy, you should have seen me trying to fill this thing up. And it was only cold water was coming out. I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do here, babe. Like, and then boom, Wyatt was there. So the panic was like, what happens when he comes out and then like he's in the water? She's like, you grab him, you fucking asshole. Like it was like, this isn't like rocket science.
I know, but they're all slimy and stuff, so it's like hard to
hold
hold
the
on.
surge protector. What do I do?
And I don't think a lot of people understand this is probably like maybe, the international symbol for oversharing, but after a baby comes out, you got to wait a little bit, and then the placenta comes out, and oh my God, dude.
Aren't you supposed to eat it?
Dinner time.
Some women have like put it into pills, I believe, and you can eat it. My wife did not do that.
Like a chicken, it looks like chicken parm, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just throw it right on top of my Caesar salad. It's perfect. It tastes great. But what were we saying about that?
Just like how you're supposed to wait.
Yeah, the placenta is how the baby feeds and everything while they're inside the woman. It's just wild. I'll tell you what, like women giving birth, like you think you're a tough guy. We got all these different tough guys we talk to. Biz talks about fighting nasty morasty. Once you see a woman give birth, they immediately, for the rest of time, are the toughest human being alive. It's
RA, how many times have you been constipated? I mean, I would imagine your shits, that's probably very similar to giving birth.
It's like putting on a racquetball sometimes. It's not brutal, so I can't imagine what it's like.
Instead of placenta after, it's just like crumbs of the fucking pretzels from his
goldfish.
bag.
with the extra cheddar cheese, though. Don't forget that. No, I mean actual cheddar cheese. No, man, that's what I like, the dusted ones.
Now, is the placenta something that could help heal your hamstring? Like, what type of vitamins and nutrients does this thing have?
Yeah, you can rub it all over a bruise. It's placenta can be used for anything. But it could be like a hockey puck.
It's Tiger Bomb on steroids.
Like Tussin. Instead of shave his head, they're like, drop that kid. Drop that kid.
Yeah. Murls, do you think is it offside to ask you to bring some of it over for the big deal selects to give us?
Christ,
Before you play nose face, give you a little placenta
That's what
shot.
I'm saying. We need every little advantage we can get.
I'll ask up there. They'll love me asking that in English to them.
After 2 boys with you, might be due for a daughter here.
That's
Statistically.
We'll see.
I don't know what we're having.
We don't
That's what's
find
so
out.
weird
We haven't
about
found
ours.
out.
Yeah.
I think it's the greatest surprise in life.
Absolutely.
I love not knowing. So we're gonna wait and see.
Merles, when she's giving birth, are you seeing kind of it come out of the hole?
So I had my brother, my cousin, my friends, they all told me to stay north of the border and look down.
Look into her eyes.
Yeah, you can't unsee what goes on down there. So the first time I did that, but this time she wants me to get down there and try to catch it, but I don't know.
So
You have to
I
get
looked.
those NFL gloves, the ones that are very sticky.
Must.
Yeah, you don't want the butterfingers. Whoopsie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's got pine tar all over his knuckles, getting ready.
Oh, shit. Next up, the Bizman, Paul Biz Nasty Bissonette. We got some great news. We're going to not break in a second, but get to in a second. How you doing, pal? How was your week?
I'm doing good, man. Training for Chiclets Cup. Still off the sauce. Still off the dope. Just getting ready, man. I'm prepared. I'm staying laser focused. I don't want to embarrass myself. I mean, I haven't won. We haven't won our own ball hockey tournament yet. Anything I can do to get prepared for this. And we also have El Capitan, Terry Ryan. He's coming off a ball hockey world championship. So his leadership, and he's in shape, and the rest of the crew that I bet you half of the team played for the national team for Canada in Buffalo. They actually had it at Riverworks, the exact same place we're going to. I mean, you guys know if you've been to the first one, we're going there back to back. An incredible venue where we're going to have a great time. We got the Buffalo Sabres game on the Friday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then Saturday at the concert hall, in the midst of Riverworks, we got Dirty Honey. So It's going to be a great week. So just a lot of resting up for that, and nothing much exciting going on here, boys.
Biz, what time do you go to bed at night?
Lately, I've been going to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
shit.
And,
Wow.
Yeah, naturally waking up about 6:30. I'll tell you
I
what,
just can't go to bed early. I every night I'm like, all right, 10 o'clock, 10:30, go upstairs. And then it's 11:30 and I'm always falling asleep on the couch. And then you kind of wake up and then it's hard. I need to start going to bed earlier, but I don't want to go to bed yet. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I used to be on, I wouldn't say an RA schedule, but yeah, I'd be usually going to bed around 12 o'clock. And then I would be tired because you're looking at your phone in bed, but I've been very disciplined lately. And if you're waking up early, you just got to break the cycle, right? So if you get up early and you go work out, I either do one or two things. I go to my trainer, a guy named Brandon. He actually trained Sugar Sean O'Malley. I've talked about him before.
We got to get Sugar Sean on this pod.
Yeah, he said he's going to come on. I didn't want to bug him before his latest fight, so I wanted him to focus on that. And now he's world champion in his weight class. We should also get my trainer on, man. He's a fascinating guy, and he could talk about how we incorporate a lot of this breathing and a lot of the breathing exercises, either pre or post workout to calm down and get the heart rate rested, but also in the midst of the workout. So if you're breathing properly during it, you don't get as tired. Or I wake up and I go for a 3.5 mile run, and it usually takes me about 20. I think I shed my time down to about 27.5 minutes right now. But then you go throughout a full day with. So by the time 7, 8 o'clock rolls around, I'm just trying to keep my fucking eyes open.
Yeah, so you don't need you're not napping at all.
No naps. No, I'm not. So, once in a while, I'll do a 15, 20-minute nap, but I can't shut my brain off. So I'm just kind of wound up and as I said, getting ready for a lot, man. It's going to be a big season. And RA, you kind of teed it up. So not only
I just can't get over the fact that when you run or do cardio, you don't listen to anything. That's just wild.
I'm trying to focus on my breathing. That's the biggest thing, right? Especially if you're what?
No, I said no shit. Because you said your brain don't stop. I kind of have the same thing. So to just be able to focus on your breathing, that's kind of not unusual. It's different, I guess, to not have something keeping your brain occupied when you're doing that stuff.
No, I just it helps me, and so sometimes I'll try to do strictly nasal breathing. I know a lot of people, especially in the the fitness world, have been talking about this recently. When you go to bed, some people even do duct tape across their mouth because you're supposed to breathe in and out through your nose, and that's how you sleep properly. Why are you laughing, Murls?
Sounds like what happens in Terry Ryan's tent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I always had duct tape beside my bed anyway, so it just worked out perfectly.
Holy shit. Well, Biz, you just mentioned Captain Terry Ryan. We also have captain of the New Jersey Devils coming later, Nico Hischier. Great interview. We are previewing the Metropolitan Division.
Oh, my God. Pasha's got a raging boner right now behind the scenes. And by the way, we might be bringing Pasha on. I think we are bringing him on to do the Devils breakdown. I mean, he has been doing Popeye wrist curls to tug these guys off for what, 3 months now, getting ready since they've been eliminated.
Like fools last year.
He did. And the whole Rangers fan base, those fucking Fugazis. So I'm interested to see what Mr. Pasha has in order for us.
I got a breakdown when we get to the Rangers and the Islanders. I had Avery Zaretsky, former Barstool employee, Rangers diehard that Pasha owned. And then I got Frankie Borelli, the lunatic Islanders fan. I had them send me big-time breakdowns of each one of their teams. Basically, what did he
send you? Adderall so you could stay awake for a full fucking Islanders game this year? Just a snooze fest. Slowest team in the league, the New York Ambiens.
Guys, what's up? It's Whit here. And you know what I'm here to talk about. It's the pink drink, Pink Whitney. Fall season, fall golf, football, Chiclets Cup, most importantly. Also, I also bring up Pink Whitney and all the ways to drink it and all the different mixes and all the different size bottles we have. But we got some phenomenal merch as well. I'm rocking a Pink Whitney quarter zip right now. We got some great logos. We got some great gear. And I talked about the tailgates. Whether you go with the nips or whether you go with the big bottle, just make sure the big bottle's on ice. Make sure the nips are cold. Nips are cold, all right. You hear me on that one?
Whoa. Hold on there, Woody. We've got a contest to announce. You think your friend is the ultimate life of the party? Well, nominate them and you could win a Pink Whitney NYC trip. One lucky winner will receive an epic New York City trip for them and 3 friends, complete with a tour of Barstool HQ. 10 secondary prize winners will receive Pink Whitney party packs with everything you and your crew need to take your shot and throw the ultimate house party. It's easy to enter. Just go to pinkwhitney.com to enter your info, nominate your life of the party friend, and describe how they always make the party next level for a chance to win the ultimate Pink Whitney NYC trip experience. All right, Woody, back to you.
Make sure that you get involved drinking Pink Whitney. New Amsterdam's own Pink Whitney. Without them, it doesn't exist. It's the best drink on the market. It gives you a little buzz. No gross aftertaste. Goes down smooth. We got old people who love it. We got younger drinking age people who love it. We actually are lucky enough to be able to have this stuff sent to us and hammer it down when you need a buzz. If you're at home and you got kids crying and it's nighttime and it's late and you're just like, just maybe do a nip. Is that the best advice sometimes? No, but it can make you a better parent at times. I know anyone out there knows what I'm saying. So go right now to your local liquor store, get involved, grab a big old bottle this time. Maybe save the nips for next week. Grab a big old bottle, pour it over some ice, put whatever mix you want in, and enjoy your night, enjoy your day, enjoy your fall with Pink Whitney.
Dude, Biz, big news this week. Great news for hockey fans. Yourself, Wayne Gretzky, Hank Lundqvist, Anson Carter signed multi-year extensions with TNT. You guys are going to be back for a long while here. Brian Boucher is going to take over for Jonesy and join Kenny Albert and Edzo, probably the best call in hockey. Brendan Burke, the Islanders' terrific play-by-play man. He's going to be calling games as well with the 3-time Olympic gold winner and Harvard superstar, Jen Botterill. Panga's going to join them. Nice. Jackie Redmond, Tariq El-Bashar. We're going to be doing the roving reporter. Great stuff, man. Congratulations, dude. Although you did get tripped, a lot of people are wondering, was that your first ever contract extension?
No, Brad Treliving, who's now with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the commander-in-chief, he gave me a contract extension. 2 years when I was playing with the Phoenix Coyotes.
One way?
And he was, yes, 2 year. I got a 2 year one way and then another 2 year one way. And you're probably wondering, well, why was it the assistant GM giving you the deal? It's because the assistant GM usually deals with the AHL guys and the peasants. And that was obviously me. So shout out to Brad Treliving. That's why I'll be sniffing his jock the rest of the season. And as long as he is tenured with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's go, boys in blue.
What was it? 2 years, $525 each year, then like 2 years, $775 each year?
My second one, I got the first one was $625, $650, I believe, and then the next one was $725, $750. But the $725 year, we had the half year lockout. Fuck, that's a kick in the dick.
You.
Just a kick in the junk. With escrow, I was basically making minimum wage. back to the contract extension. So obviously, I think it was supposed to be announced last week, but they put that on hold for obvious reasons. But I am so fucking excited to be back. I am very grateful to work with an incredible crew. Like, Aria, you mentioned all those names. Those are the best in the business. The fact that I even get to sit next to Wayne Gretzky, Anson Carter, Liam McHugh, the best bus driver in the business. Hank used to be Talkett. Obviously, that was a tough loss. And then also, from what I'm hearing, Arm Dog's going to be in the mix a little bit, and Yans is going to be in the mix a little bit. So a lot of the same crew back, and all those play-by-play and color guys as well. So, I mean, aside from pumping their tires and getting to work with those extremely talented people, getting to work with you guys and our fan base is probably the reason why I ended up where I did in that seat. So to you guys, you know I love you. Thank you guys for all you've done for me. To our fans who continue to support us, to you guys as well. I will try to not butcher my hot takes this season. I feel like my hot takes are humming this year. I'm heading in the right direction. I started last week with the Kings, buzzing in that direction. So we're gonna let it fly this year, and I'm very excited to be back with TNT.
What do you get like 10 new suits with the new deal? Did they buy you new gear?
No, I might buy new dress shoes, but I'll just keep. No, I got about what? Probably 12 blazers, 10 pairs of pants, and 25 dress shirts last year. I'll use and abuse those suits for probably the next 10 years.
Yes.
So hey, we'll let Hank wear the nice suits. I don't need to wear the nice suits. I just got the Who Shot the Couch versions.
And what is it, Wednesday nights again?
So we're going to have Wednesday nights. We got a couple Friday nights. And then in the second half of the season, a lot of Sunday nights as well. Nice. So February, March, once football is all said and done, they're going to start doing the Wednesday, Sunday schedule. And I actually think I might rent a place in Florida. Because, I mean, traveling cross country every week gets a little bit tiring. So when there's going to be 2 shows in a week, I might as well not come back and stay there. I might, maybe I'll just go stay with the Ants.
So maybe speaking of your hot takes being on fire this year, they didn't want to listen to you and have Sunday games during the NFL?
What do you mean?
Remember when you said that there should be NHL games every Sunday afternoon while the NFL is going on? We
can argue about this till I'm blue in the face. And with the amount of people switching channels over and over, if there's a couple bad games on the NFL side, they can just flip over to some hockey. It's everybody. It's the international day for sitting on your couch in the entire United States of America, even in Canada, for the amount of people that watch football between the Buffalo Bills and the Seahawks. I still think that it's not a bad idea. They should test it with 1 or 2 games or do 3 where they spread them out. Start one at 1 o'clock, start one at 4 o'clock, and start one at 7 o'clock.
I think you guys think I'm fucking crazy. Philly playing while Dallas plays like the 49ers.
Fuck off. Didn't they send a tweet out like the week after I mentioned that on the podcast that they were considering it? I think we sent it to the group chat. Grinelli, help me out here, please.
Yeah, I think Biz is right here. I think they did.
There you go. Thank you, Grinelli. That's good. That's all we need. Thank you for stopping by.
Biz, did you get a modified no trade clause that you got to name 3 networks you won't get traded to if they want to dump you off? What networks did you put?
No, I did not. I did not do that. I like that joke though. All right.
All right. Did you write that one yourself?
I'm not gonna. Come on.
Hey, you mentioned.
I did have a question for you though.
Let's have it.
So. You're a huge television show movie guy, and recently Drew Barrymore came out during this writer's strike, and she said that she was going to continue the show that she was doing because I would imagine she doesn't need any of these networks, and they can just post the shows onto YouTube and continue doing it that way. Now, obviously you want to stay in what's the word I'm looking for? You want to stay
relevant.
No,
loyal to the union.
Strong. Yeah, like loyal to the union.
Solidarity.
In solidarity. That's the word. That's a big one. I'm at the right one. That one down. You want to stay in solidarity with the union, but like considering how much control like all the networks and these executives have over the talent. Now that you have YouTube and social media and all these things at your disposal, why don't all these people just go off and create their own outlets? Like if she's saying that she can sustain and do her show.
They're the writers. It's the writers that are striking.
Biz, I think she was saying that she was going to do her show without the writers, not without the network. Like she was going to move. And that's why it also created a controversial topic that like, why does Drew Barrymore, who does like a talk show, like need writers? Like, shouldn't she be writing her own content?
Well, I think it's a tale as old as time that all these late night shows, they all have like writers.
Yeah,
they all have joke writers and different. I mean, it takes a village, right? Like you can't. I guess a supremely talented talk show host could do everything on their own, but I imagine when you're doing something like that 5 days a week, you need help. You need your team. The whole thing's bizarre to me though, because like, in the end, like they're not going to win, right? Like the executives in the studios already, they're not giving in, and it's like the players are never going to beat the owners in the NHL. I don't know if it's an uphill battle they have a chance of winning, or they're just kind of they're going to end up losing all this pay the entire time and take a similar type deal.
What do you think about that, RA?
I'm 100% on the union side. Obviously, I grew up in a union town. I've been in some unions. I'm not like everything has to be union, but in this case, yeah, these guys and gals, they're getting screwed because the whole landscape has changed with streaming. So people aren't getting residuals that they used to get back in the day. And these studios are dirtbags about it. They hide money. Like so many like writers and actors have sued to get money that was due them back because they do this like kind of fancy bookkeeping, dirty bookkeeping that keeps from paying what they should be paying these guys. So now that streaming come out, there was nothing there. There was no contract because it just kind of come out of nowhere. And yeah, that's a great question. These studios, they can wait them out. They got billions of dollars. And a lot of these people, they're losing houses. And one of the studio execs come out and said, we're going to wait this out until they start losing their houses and shit. Now, think of how much of a fucking scumbag you're going to be to say, we're going to wait for people to lose their houses.
Let's go, RA. Grind my fucking gears, baby.
The guy probably has 7 houses.
Right. And listen, there is fucking nothing. See that right there? There is absolutely fucking nothing that exists in Hollywood without the pen or the laptop or whatever. The writers make fucking everything. They've been disrespected forever. Nothing happens without that. You can take the AI and shove it up your fucking ass because it's never going to do what people do. You need that human element when you write stuff. And I feel bad for these people that are losing their houses, are losing money. But I think they're fucking in for the long haul, buddy. I know there's a lot of rich guys, rich actors and actresses that are helping them pay their bills and whatnot. But fuck the studios on this stuff, man. They're going to try to be dirtbags. And what's going to happen, hopefully, is the stockholders going to be, hey, we're tanking here. When he's going to do something, and they finally bend over and just give the money because there are executives out there making hundreds of millions of fucking dollars. They could just, that's it. That would make the fucking difference up, and they don't want to do it. They're being scumbags and dirtbags about it. So, yeah, writers and actors, man, I hope they fucking win this, and they got a valid point, and, fuck the suit,
so,
man.
RA,
So,
like, if you write if you're the writer of a successful show or movie, like, are you getting paid, like, pennies on the dollar? Like, do they have just, like how are you making big money as a writer? Your show has to like be like Breaking Bad almost.
Yeah, and they get bought and they just get fucked. They get bent over a barrel. They're not making what they used to because the studios, they're scumbags about it. They're dirtbags. You could write a great show and then you sign off something and you're not getting A, B, and C like they used to, man. They just want them to be fucking peasants. They don't want to fucking pay them what they should get. And they really think this AI shit is going to like make new movies. You can't write a fucking good thing without the human element, man.
That's a big component right now. They say they're battling. Like last time there was a massive strike. I don't know if it or something disrupted the industry. I believe it was streaming, as you mentioned, to where, all of a sudden there's a lot of people getting cut off from getting certain paychecks, where they're saying with the way that AI is heading, that's why these networks and these big dogs are staying firm, where they believe that like there's not a lot of original ideas that are created anymore because almost a lot of them have been written and taken over. You could agree to disagree. I don't think that they should turn to AI, but they're saying that it's so smart in the way that it's constantly evolving and how intelligent it is getting that they can do that. And even from a situation of once you've kind of signed your life away, so to speak, as an actor or actress, they can then take the technology and like basically just keep using your image and likeness.
That's exactly another point. They want extras, and I've been an extra a couple times. They want the extra to sign this thing that says we can use your image and likeness anytime we want from going forward. So they'll put your fucking paint your face on some fucking green screen body and make money, and your face is in it, and they're not getting shit. And the thing is, as far as the AI wit and biz, it's not for art. They're not saying, oh, let's bring the AI in for the artistry. It's to save fucking money. Like you need a human element. No AI could write fucking Romeo and Juliet or fucking The Godfather, any of that shit.
I was
going to
say,
possible,
like, there's so many different in-depth type, like whether it's a joke or a dramatic storyline. Like maybe I'm totally wrong and I'm not educated at all on AI, but it seems crazy to me to think that like an amazingly well written movie could come from that. Maybe I'm way off, but
It can't. It's just
right.
like it's a human
it's like
thing.
the
And-
human element of going through different parts of your life that create these dramas and comedies and movies and shows that I would have thought when streaming came along and there was Netflix and Amazon Prime and so on that it would almost create more openings for writers. I guess it's just like watered down in a sense.
All right, I think I just teed up your grind my gears this episode.
You know what? I just jumped ahead. We got to do it right now, and this kind of ties into it. Brought to you by BigDealBrewing.com/finder. Grinding my gears this week. The show I've talked about with a bunch, Winning Time, the show based on the book Showtime about the 1980s Lakers. Terrific book by Jeff Pearlman, one of the best book writers, book writers out there about actual sports heroes, legendary teams over the years. Wrote a tremendous book. HBO picked it up. Season 1 last year, I raved about it. Look, I hate the Lakers. Obviously, I have tremendous respect for the franchise, similar to the Montreal Canadiens. Season 1 come out terrific. I raved about it, blogged about it. Season 2 come out. It was great. I was writing blogs about that. Jeff Pearlman, the guy who wrote the book, said, hey, I'm getting word it might not be back for a season 3 because the viewership is down. Now, HBO historically hasn't given a fuck about ratings. If the artistry is good, people like it. If it's a good show, they'll keep it on because it's fucking HBO. They never really cared about that shit. Well, season 2 was going, I think it was the season fucking finale, Sunday night. And the people on that fucking show didn't know that the show was getting canceled until Sunday night. And I'm watching it, and the last fucking game they have, 1984 final, spoiler alert, the Lakers lose to the Celtics in fucking 7. I'm like, how are you going to end a Lakers show with the Celtics winning in 1984? So that fucking happens. They tagged it on like the Poochie episode of The Simpsons. Poochie flew back to his home planet and died on the way home. The stupidest, fakest thing. They put all these fucking letters and the Lakers did this, A, B, C, and D, Magic on H-I. Like they put them in like 2 minutes worth of like title cards, and it was horrific. It was an awful way to fucking end the show. And this sucks because these people had no idea. There's no conclusive ending. They did it with Deadwood back in the day, and yeah, that happened largely because of the strike. Also because of fucking. The writers aren't around. They didn't want to promote it. I see how fucking infuriated I get. Basically, if this didn't happen
right now.
if this
Never
didn't
seen you
happen
like this.
during like the strike, all this shit going on, it would have stayed. And also, fucking, HBO has a guy in charge. He's slashing and burning everything. He's trying to save money because they made stupid
Who,
investments.
Zaslav?
Yeah, Zaslav. Yeah.
So
he's-
I think he's technically my boss. So I'm not,
Yeah, I know, that's why I
back to
didn't
being
wanna-
not being on TNT again.
Right.
But from my understanding, he made $250 million.
Yep.
The
He
year before
himself?
last.
Yep.
He himself. And then this year his bonuses are not attached to the stock price.
It's like getting the signing bonus that is lockout protected.
Yeah. He's Austin Matthews of the film world.
And it's like his salary is like not quite the amount they're fighting over, but it's not much more than that. That's what's insane about Witt. You went to BU. He spoke at the BU graduation this past summer. I don't know if you saw the clips at all. He got up there and I've never seen a crowd at a graduation in college that chant. They're like, pay your writers. They fucking chanted throughout his whole speech, pay your writers, because it's just so goddamn wrong. And listen, I've been an HBO
I was there.
guy.
Pay my hot takes.
For 50 years, man. I've been watching HBO since mid-late 70s. It's been the like marquee cable fucking channel out there forever. And it's just getting fucking watered down. Like even the app, HBO Max come out. It was terrific. It had all these marquee things. And my 79-year-old dad looked at the thing lately. He's like, what is all this shit? They're just trying to do all this like reality shit. It's HBO. It deserves
do
way
you know
better.
that you can download shows from HBO Max onto your
No
computer or
shit.
iPad for the flight?
Only when they're airing, though. They don't stay there permanently.
You can download them,
No.
and then on your flight, you
crazy.
can watch the downloaded
Time
version
out.
of what you have. I
Time out.
swear.
What will
Time
they think of next?
Now, RA, I respect you sticking up for the writers in this
And
whole
actors.
writers/actors strike because
My
like
peers.
if there's one thing you are passionate about, well, yeah, and you've obviously done acting in the past and still do it with Shoresy now, and you're going to continue to do it, but you come on the show, and I know that there's one thing that you're extremely passionate about is it's your movies and television shows. So I appreciate your perspective, and I hope that your fellow common men and women get paid and they're not losing their houses and continue working in the industry.
Yeah, and one last point before we can move along here. It's like the whole perception, Hollywood elites, blah, blah, blah. It's like so very few of these actors are in that like upper echelon that you think of, like, zillions of dollars. A lot of these people are just working class people. They go from job to job. Guys who work on the crew, they're Teamsters, they're blue collar guys. Like, those are the people who are suffering. Those are the people who are getting fucked. It's not, George Clooney, all those people at that level, Julia Roberts, they have enough money forever. Ideally, they would all come together and make a plan and just start their own studio like United Artists did way back in the day.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They should be doing that.
All right. I don't know if I can let you skate. Like, Hollywood elite is more, yes, there's not an enormous amount of like amazing actors and actresses making huge dough, but a lot of them are pretty vocal on all their bullshit stuff at award shows, talking about all this nonsense liberal bullshit. Like, they do love getting their point across. That's the Hollywood elite.
Joaquin Phoenix said I couldn't have cereal with my milk with my cereal. He said stop milking cows, didn't he?
Oh, I'm not sure. That wouldn't surprise me. He's a little bit out there. Not that would surprise me with him, but
actors and actresses get on the soapbox quite a bit, and they talk to people all over the country who have fractions of what they have, and they're telling them what to do. I think that's more the Hollywood elite description of some of these people.
Yeah, fair enough. And, it's also people sticking their mics in front of them and asking them what they think. It's just, not unlike what kind of we do here. We share our opinions. I mean, I don't think they're just getting on a soapbox to get on it. I mean, some of them are, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, but I don't think that's really, relative to what we're talking about here. And what's going to suck too, guys, is in, another year or two, whatever, there's this lull like we already had the last strike where there's nothing getting made for 6, 8, 10 months. So then there's going to be
sucks.
This whole period, man. It's brutal. It shouldn't happen. They're just trying to fucking like drown these people, drain them forever, like make them fucking submit to them. Fuck that. Fuck the suits. Just hold out, wait out, and get what you deserve, man. I support them 100%. We can move on before I have a fucking connection here.
Attaboy, all right.
All right. Once again, brought to you by BigDealBrewing.com/find. Hopefully they got some big deals out in LA so people can have a few this weekend and relax. We haven't forgot about our boy G. We got a little sale coming up on the old Chiclet site. What's going on?
Yeah, back to hockey sale. We got a lot more mouths to feed. Murls is having a kid, so we're doing a merch sale. Back to hockey sale, 25% off the entire Chiclet store all week this week. So barstoolsports.com/chiclets. Check that out. Buy some merch and 25% off. Pretty good deal.
We got a bunch of Peter Millar stuff. We got a bunch of that. It's called Unreal, but it's UNRL on the sweater. Yep. They're comfy as shit. They're good.
I got it on hiking. Right now.
Oh, is that the Unreal one? There you go.
This is an Unreal. I don't know if this is the exact one we have, but this is that. It's so comfortable.
Yeah, and then we also have tons of Big Deal Brewing t-shirts like Murls has, Chiclets hats, Big Deal Brewing hats. You guys are all wearing them. So barstoolsports.com/chiclets to check that out. And Biz, I do need to make a correction on you. At the beginning of the show, you said we've never won our own tournament regarding the Chiclets Cup.
Yeah, your roller hockey division.
You've won the fourth division,
Z.
and then you won the second division with Patrick Sharp, dude. Like, come on, G.
No, we won the fourth division with Patrick Sharp.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about sandbags.
Fucking man missile.
And I fanned on the 2-on-1
You're
with him.
facing a team RAs in the championship, and you're like bragging about Sharpie getting 7 goals, running away with the title.
So, G, give them the website for the merchandise, but also we're going to be doing a lot of giveaways on our social media. So follow our Instagram, our Twitter, on Facebook. Like, we're going to be running like contests where if you just respond, quote, tweet, and follow certain accounts, we're going to be giving away like free merch bundle packages. If you are coming to Chiclets Cup, and mind you, all you folks who live in the Buffalo area, you don't need to be playing in the Chiclets Cup to come to Chiclets Cup. Anybody can walk up. The concert we're throwing by Dirty Honey, an incredible band. Anybody can come. It's going to be on the Saturday night. So all the foot traffic, we're going to have tons of merchandise there for sale. And it will also have that sale tag of the 25% off as well in attendance there. So so that's barstoolsports.com/chiclets biz. That's the website you were asking for. And then, like you said, like in the past, we've always said we'll have merch at the Chiclets Cup. This year, we're really ramping it up. You're able to buy merch on the spot. We're going to have tons of different collections. You'll also be able to buy the stuff that isn't there. We'll have an iPad where you can just buzz it up there. So there's it's going to be awesome. And just a reminder, 25% off all week this week. Let's go.
yeah, our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, comment, sandbag is all the behind the scenes stuff, and all our original content's coming. But boys, camp's open this week. Rosters have been released, but we just want to let you know we are recording early this week because the Wit Dog has yet another vacation. Biz, Wit, where are we off to this time?
Here we go. Which spa resort you going to now, Wit?
It's going to Mars.
Yeah.
The best part is if
don't
you
take the
fucking
submarine.
guys think I feel
not
bad
take
for
the
these
submarine.
vacations. I'm going to Ireland, and then I'm going to Rome. I'm going to Ireland 18 months ago. 16 of us planned a trip over to Ireland. We fly on Saturday night, which is tomorrow night. So thank you guys, actually. First off, thank you very much for recording tonight. Now, granted, we couldn't have done this mid-season before the weekend's games, but no games yet, so we're recording on a Friday night instead of a Monday. So I don't have to record after golf in Ireland. But we're going Saturday night. We fly into Dublin, playing Royal Dublin on Sunday morning. Then we bus up to Northern Ireland. We play Royal Portrush on Monday, which is an amazing, probably the second best course I've ever played after Shinnecock, which I got to play this week. Shout out Wit. But we're playing there. And then the next day we're playing Port Stewart, which is a beautiful course. I've played there as well about 10 years ago when I used to go away with Cleary and Horkoff and Bertuzzi, a bunch of guys. And then the next day we play Royal County Down. The day after that, we're playing a course called Castle Rock. I've never played there. And the day after that, I think we play the European Club, and then everyone's flying home. But a buddy of mine, we're meeting our wives in Rome, and we had plans to go to the Ryder Cup. I mentioned it, but I don't have tickets, and I got kind of hosed. I thought I had tickets. Now I don't. I don't know what to do, but it should be an amazing trip. I mean, it's a hell of a crew. We have a special, very special itinerary planned. It's just something that you look forward to for so long, so that now it's like Christmas Eve for me right now. We leave tomorrow, and then tomorrow it's a 9:30 p.m. flight. Like, what do I do all day? So I'll take the boys maybe to the Children's Museum. It's gonna rain all day, but I'm fired up. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So I will be walking around Port Stewart Golf Course when this episode drops. So let me know if you enjoyed the show, and if you don't like me or the show, please leave me alone.
Are you going to be taking public transportation like Murls said, or are you completely kiboshing that?
I think that would be in Dublin. He was talking about Rome.
In
He was
Rome.
talking about Rome. He was talking about Rome. So
especially
I will
with the wife, you don't want her walking around.
Yeah,
Get her on that hop on,
I also
hop
don't
off.
want some like Italian lunatic drooling on her on the subway. But I will. I will
wheeling
give,
her.
I will get. Yeah.
With those
I was
Armani
just
underwear,
said that.
like
Lay
a
off
man
me,
thong
Biz.
on,
Lay
that
off me,
nice
Biz.
tan, the huge schlong,
She's like, wow, this
huge
guy's handsome.
uncircumcised penis.
And then there's my husband. He's got a terrible, terrible hairline, horrible, curly, gross, balding hair. He's white as a absolute
Pubic
ghost,
hair like Velcro.
and his hog's 2 inches stock hard. What a catch I got.
First time in Italy, though,
You're
right?
all
Wit?
head.
First time in Italy, yeah. So Italy may be a straight up disaster if I don't somehow get tickets. I don't really know what to do. Considering it's Sunday too, when everyone wants to go, there's 12 matches on the course, the 12 singles matches. So I don't really know what to expect, but I've always wanted to go to Italy to try the food. The food is just supposed to be so fantastic.
Kind of like the Uber Eats Grinelli's been getting every night.
Burger King.
I get the best Italian.
Wait,
in
don't be the
Tupperware.
typical American and go over to Rome and ask for chicken parm.
No, I won't.
Get
I
the
won't.
placenta.
I promise. I promise.
the
I'm going
placenta.
off
That's
the
at
menu only.
Parmesan.
That's not Italian.
Imagine Biz trying
Get
to
the
order in
placenta
Italy.
with the Fermundo cheese on it.
Babe,
Wait,
can
the
you pop out
pasta's
that baby
completely
quick?
different there, though. It's like the American Italian food that
Yes.
it's so light and
Yes,
less
because of the
creamy.
soil and what they put in their food, and it's all made
Mediterranean
from
diet.
scratch. I think most people who are listening are
Oh,
aware.
you
you're
think
not
the
getting it.
carbonara at the Cheesecake Factory is different than the authentic?
Oh, they don't just put it in the microwave like Olive Garden.
Oh, fuck.
I
I
heard
remember
the bread-
finding
I
out
heard
at
the
Olive Garden.
breadsticks are to
I
die
remember
for.
finding out that they were microwaving the
Biz.
chicken at Olive Garden. I almost threw up.
Are you doing the night tour of the Coliseum still?
I don't know. I got to ask about that. I'm trying to figure out a way to break.
Hey,
the
you
news that we
scalped
don't have
those
Ryder
tickets
Cup.
for Ryder Cup tickets. You didn't tell the wife yet. Don't get the Sabora pizza box tickets like Grinelli did the one time outside of MSG. But that's gonna be a fun couple weeks for you. Whit. We're excited to hear about every single shot.
Well, yeah.
you
So
took
I
on
get
every
home
single course.
Tuesday because I'll record the next episode. Next week's that you guys are listening. I'll record there from Rome Monday, and then we're flying home
Yeah, while
Tuesday, and
Luigi's
then I'm on,
balls
and then
deep.
I'm on a plane to Buffalo Thursday morning. So,
Oh, my God.
when you see me in Buffalo, give me a hug.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Luigi's going to be balls deep on the king size. At the
Actually,
Four
my boy Fairway Foles, he's on Instagram. He's on the trip. He's on my squad. He's my assistant captain. He released like a preview of each team, and he just writes like, actually, it's hilarious. I guess it would maybe.
I thought they were on strike.
No, he
Scab.
he wrote under mine. I gotta find what he said. He just does like fake quotes that are pretty good. He wrote under mine. One of the quotes was, "We want our money back, the Edmonton Oilers."
Yeah, I saw that.
And then actually he wrote, I didn't even realize, he wrote, "I told Whit this on our last pod, and I'll say it again here. My message to Team County Down is simple. No spit, no lube, sandpaper finish.
Oh,
Stick
yeah.
it to Team Port Rush."
There
Paul
you go.
Bissonnette. So
Oh, yeah, I'm a
there it is.
misogynist for that one.
Yeah, you're a
Like,
misogynist.
when Michael
is
Scott
too.
goes to New
Or
York, he's like,
misogenic, as Portnoy calls it.
Misogenic. I always go to my favorite pizza place, and he crossed the street and walks into Sparrow in New York City on The Office. Remember that fucking scene?
Yeah.
Michael
The
Scott.
best pizza in New York.
Fucking classic. All right, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at BetterHelp. Spittin' Chiclets is sponsored by BetterHelp. Do you ever find that just as you're trying to fall asleep, your brain suddenly won't stop talking? Do your thoughts start racing right before bed or at other inopportune moments? It turns out one great way to make those racing thoughts go away is to talk them through. Therapy gives you a place to do that, so you can get out of your negative thought cycles and find some mental and emotional peace. I know a lot of folks are maybe a little scared to try it out or don't want to give it a whirl talking to a stranger, but therapy is a tremendous thing, a tremendous tool that can help you out. It's helped out tons of people, so you might as well give it a try if you're having such these thoughts like this. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/chiclets today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/chiclets. All right, boys, let's get over to the hockey. This week, I think the big news, Tampa Bay captain Steven Stamkos, not a guy who typically uses the media to send a message. So a lot of a lot of people raised their eyebrows when he expressed his disappointment. Basically, I quote, the lack of talk in that regard. Of course, he's talking about he's going to be a free agent this summer. He said, there haven't been any conversations. I'm ready whenever. It is what it is. You could tell he's very disappointed. GM Julian Breezeball said, Steven has mentioned publicly and to me that he wants to spend his entire career with the Lightning. I think it would be great for our organization if he could spend his entire career with the Lightning. That's in everyone's best interest. He said they share the same common goal. That's our objective. In order for us to do this, we're going to need to spend our cap dollars as wisely as possible. I think if you read between the lines here, he's saying, Steve, you can stay, but you got to take less. Biz, go to you first on this. Were you surprised Stamkos went to the media on this, and what's your take on how it might play out?
I mean, he might be dealing with the assistant general manager at the insinuation that he's going to have to take a hometown discount. Now, did I expect these type of fireworks before the season to start, guys? Absolutely not. It almost feels like Stammer had them tee him up with that question, but the fact that they haven't reached out to him to at least start negotiations is such a slap in the face. And we're not talking, and mind you, you might think like, oh, Steven Stamkos, how old is he? Like 36, 37? No, he's 33 years old.
Dude, I looked
and this
this
is
morning.
a guy.
I looked this morning. I thought he was 35, 36.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
He's 33 years old. He trains like an absolute madman with Gary Roberts. He's came back from a couple serious injuries too here, folks, right? Like he's dealt with some shit. And it's not like the production has gone down. I know he's playing with world-class players like Kucherov and mixing it up with those Braden Point. He's going off 2-year removes from a 104-point season. And then last year was over a point a game with 84 points. So the production is still there. Now, I think it's a complete fucking slap in the face that he has not been reached out to talk about a contract extension. Right off the top of my head, I'm thinking in order to keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning, I would probably offer him a 5 to 6 year deal, and you could probably keep his AAV in the 5.5 to 6.5 number, which
You
I
think
think
he'd take that?
Listen.
Bud.
Listen.
Are you Brisebois' mole?
No. I know it's a little bit low, but I'm also taking into account that he's been playing with these high world-class players that are making $9.5 million with, and I don't think that they can afford to keep him if it ends up being above that 6.5, 7 number. Do I think he can go somewhere else and get it?
Oh,
But
you
we're
said
also,
5.5 is what caught me.
I said
6.5,
between
7's different.
5.5, 6.5. That's what I said first off, between 5.5 and 6.5. But I'm also saying giving him a 6-year term for a guy who's about to turn 34 years old, which would bring him to 40 years old. I think with the cap going up, I think at a $6.5 million number for 6 years for a guy who's already made $84 million there, and mind you, no state tax, would be a great number to get him at, to not only keep that core group in which they have together. And I'm going to hand it over to you right now, Whit. The biggest factor as to why it's a slap in the face is because of all the other guys who are part of that core group and when they locked up.
So, yeah, I'll say this. For him to go public, I was shocked because he is a guy that's in the room. First of all, like, one of the most universally respected players in the league, I would say, with what he's accomplished. I mean, you think back to their first cup in COVID year when he barely got to play that one game, scored the beautiful goal. Like, you know, you felt for the guy that he got his Stanley Cup, but he wasn't there in most of the games. But he still made an impact in that series against Dallas. And then he goes on to have another monster season. They get another one. With all the injuries, all that he's accomplished in his career, he's never once spoken out in terms of like bringing stuff outside the locker room, right? Like everything stays within the team. That's how he's always approached everything. He's been a phenomenal captain. He's been a phenomenal leader. And all of a sudden, he says that at that press conference, and you're like, if you could ever talk to this guy, have a couple beers, and really get his opinion, if he was saying that to the media, he must be beyond bullshit right now. And I really don't blame him, because if you look at they didn't even reach out. How do you not even, because who said it, Biz? Elliot and Jeff on 32 Thoughts said all their guys signed. All of them. It's Sergachev, it's Point, it's Kucherov, it's Vasilevsky, it's Cernak, Hagel. They all got signed the summer before their deal ended. So it was, if they approached him the exact same way they've signed all the rest of their core, all the rest of these champions. I know Hagel wasn't there for the Cups, but all the rest of them, he would have had a deal done this summer. Not only does he not have a deal, not even a reach out, not even a, hey, what are you guys thinking for a number? This is where we're thinking. So for him, it's more about the insult and the slap in the face of like, you're not even going to reach out. And I think that is crazy. Now, also, Brisebois learned under Steve Yzerman. You remember what Steve Yzerman did to Martin St. Louis? You remember how that relationship combusted? So he doesn't give a fuck. He's a I don't want to say cold-hearted. That's not the right word, but he sticks to what he believes in, and he really doesn't give a fuck, and he doesn't let feelings get in the way, similar to a way Bill Belichick's done it. Now, Brisebois learned that way. They created champions that way, and he's decided, well, I'm in no rush to get him signed. And it could be one of those Bill Belichick things where he's looking at the age. Now, what do they say the prime is in hockey? 24 to 29? Yeah. I'm pretty sure like at 30, you're on the back nine. 33, yeah.
To the exception of some guys who, you know, they drink from that fountain of youth, which he seems to be doing because he had a 104-point season 2 years ago and he had 84 last year. Like there's no production drop off. And I understand that you also have to factor in that at a certain point there is going to be a decline. And the money has obviously already been snapped around to certain guys. That's why I said in this case, to keep him around, you just provide him with term that would bring him to 40 years old. And in that case, if you're Stamkos, you have to bend at some point. I think
which he hasn't even said he's not willing to do either.
Correct,
he just wants it to reach out.
Right. No doubt. But I mean, obviously with this, or else I'll throw it over to you. With all this, you speculate and you think, well, what would be the number that would probably keep him there? And where do you guys lie?
Yeah, that's what you don't get is like before they made this Hagel contract, how do you not reach out to know what Stamkos kind of wants? So then maybe you kind of work
Hagel
it.
had to be re-signed before the season.
Yeah, but still,
Hagel came over from Chicago 2 years ago, right before the Cup run, and then he had 1 year left. I believe $1.5 million.
He was a free agent this summer.
Correct, but
okay.
all the other guys you got right. Now keep in mind, Hagel might have been restricted, and he might not have been an unrestricted free agent, but ultimately he had to sign before training camp. Correct.
Yeah, but you should know what he needs, because then maybe you go to Hagel like, listen, Stammer's going to only take 6. You're taking 6 too. You got to know what Stamkos wants before you get into that deal. I think it's crazy that they don't.
Well, not for fucking Julian
Hagel
Brisebois.
signed this year, Biz. Wrong.
For how much?
1.5.
Okay, so he did have another. Okay, never mind. All right, I thought so. What? So he came over with 2 years left on his deal at 1.5.
I think they got him last year. Didn't they get him last year?
The Hagel trade right here was
it was 2 years ago.
March 18th, 2022. Tampa Bay got Hagel, a couple picks. They sent Taylor Radish.
Wow, so Chicago had just signed him.
Wow. Okay. My bad. I thought he only had 1 year left at 1.5. He had 2 years left at 1.5. Everybody talked about an overpayment. The reason they overpaid is because they get him another year at $1.5 million. That is a fucking bargain. Yeah. That's a bargain.
Yeah, the extension signed August 22nd of this year. 8 years, $52 million, $6.5 million. So, yeah, you can understand why Stamkos might have a little bee in his bonnet.
Alluding to your point, that's a slap in the face of the fact that they lock in this guy before they give it to their captain who's been there and helped them win 2 cups. That's actually insanity. Where you want to talk cutthroat, Brisebois is cutthroat.
And it's one thing to be sitting around and have a great, say, 7-8 year run with a team, and your deal's coming up to, you got 1 more year left, and you haven't won anything yet. And you could see a GM be like, dude, this guy, I mean, he's been a great player. We haven't done shit in the playoffs. This guy's done everything. You got the 2 cups. You got the 3rd cup in a row. They lost to a wagon in Colorado. It's like, it is very odd. The only explanation in my mind, and this is from reading Brisebois' quotes and seeing Stammers, is he kind of thinks his game is in decline. Like, what else could you infer from what he's saying and doing in terms of not reaching out, besides him thinking like, you know what? Maybe it's going to be another dip this year. It was a dip last year. Now, granted, his dips to 84 points or whatever it was, but maybe in his mind he's like, I don't know. I don't want to lock him in long term. Which is, you know, what's going through Stammer's head, because what else are you gonna think if you're the captain of a dynasty in a sense, right? You could call them. I mean, I guess 3's the dynasty, but
what do you think Coop thinks of all this?
Well, haven't they had beef? Haven't they like gone back and forth a little bit?
Him and Coop?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a 3-way. There's a
not publicly.
We're playing Chinese checkers now.
I could be making this up.
Yeah, when this came out, I was like, I'm like, yeah, maybe I won't throw him a Coop a text on this one because I don't know the dynamics there. Because, you know, it's his captain and best player
Wrong
on his team.
number,
One of the
who
best
dis?
players on his team. Yeah, exactly. New phone, who dis? I can't believe he's going into his 16th season already. I mean, what's he got? 1,056 points in 1,003 games. I'm stunned by all this
Biz
stuff.
And Murls, is it more of an insult to not reach out like he did? Or is it more of an insult to reach out and say, hey, we got a 5-year deal for you at $4 million a year?
No, there's not that would be a slap in the face.
So you think
you
you
were ready to have an aneurysm. You were ready to have an aneurysm when I said 5.5, but I was talking term. I wouldn't be shocked if he took a 6x6. Like that's like, to me, it's like, if you want to, he's already made 84. He made 84 million on his last.
Yeah, agreed that just to stay there and be a Lightning forever. I understand.
Give it to him in signing bonus too. Just like Matthews.
Coming off those seasons, that's the thing. It's not even like this is a captain who's coming off a couple weak years. He's still lighting it up.
You think he plowed his old lady?
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, but you got to ask him either way. Maybe he wants to stay there because his kid's in school, his wife's from there, he's got the perfect house, he doesn't want to move. Who knows? Maybe you reach out to him and he's like, yeah, screw it. Give me 6 years, $4 million. I don't care about money. I got enough. You don't know because you never asked him.
Yeah, exactly.
Just feel him out. That's what I would do.
He's calling his agent like, did he call today? He's like, not yet, Stammer. He's like, what is happening right now?
the only big name that's scheduled to go UFA after this season, Willie Nylander, who's actually got moved to center for the start of training camp here. I'll run down the names here. Mark Scheifele, Jake Gensel, Elias Lindholm, Chandler Stevenson, Jonathan Marchessault, Devon Taves, Noah Hannafin, Brandon Montour, Connor Hellebuck, Ilya Samsonov. Which of these guys is most likely to be completely UFA after this year? The team's just going to be all set with
Scheifele,
him.
1,000%.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to get traded.
I think if Winnipeg don't sell him and Hellebuck at the deadline, they've lost their minds.
Personally, and I don't know shit about being a GM. I mean, I don't know how you don't move them this summer and get way more back in return as opposed to waiting until every year if you get a UFA at the deadline.
You don't think Boston's going to be getting desperate at the fucking deadline with no center ice?
More desperate closer to the
deadline.
You guys think for a possible 2-month run you're going to get more than an entire season?
Yes, I do.
And then the entire season you can try to sign them?
I think that yes, teams get more desperate throughout the season. It doesn't necessarily need to be at the deadline. It could be, as early as a few months into the season, depending on how Boston starts, if they're not getting any offensive output from those two first-line center. And on top of that, which has become more popular lately, is the sign and trades. Right? Like you saw it with Matthew Tkachuk, which I think that was like the first of its kind, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like that was the start of it, where now you're going to start seeing it more and more and more. So I would say with the names on that list, RA, I would say this is probably one of the best UFA classes as of at least right now. Right. That list might dwindle. Like for instance, when's the last time a free agent defenseman as good as Devon Taves has actually hit the market? Like if Devon Taves gets to this summer, he's going to get paid $9.5-10 million easy. I mean, right? He's a top 20 defenseman in the league. If it was an Olympic year, he'd be playing with Cale Makar on the same pairing. Like he's a world-class defenseman. Hannafin might get fucking $7-8 million. You talked about Scheifele already, and there's a few other names on that list that they stick out like sore thumbs.
I don't see Gensel. I don't see Gensel going anywhere.
Gensel ain't going nowhere.
Right.
But
that's a guy.
The other thing about Stamkos that's nuts is he actually went to free agency the last time. And remember, everyone said Toronto was getting him. He's going to the Leafs. Like this is the second time this has happened. They didn't re-up him before the last time he was going to be UFA.
Well,
and
they wouldn't be able to afford him now because Brad Treliving is adamant that he wants to sign William Nylander. I think William Nylander ends up getting close to that $10 million number. I think that they're lunatics if they go over the 10. I think a nice 9.5 number would be fucking silky. You can't possibly you can't possibly pay him more than Sebastian Aho. Like that to me is a good number. Sebastian Aho is making 9.5. I would say from a full body of work, Sebastian Aho has the edge here from an overall game. Correct? Like I think nobody's here to argue that. He's had more.
No,
and
he's the center. We'll see what Nylander does as center, but
and we haven't seen what he's been able to do at center ice. That's going to be another a wrench into the Toronto drama going into the season. But overall, I don't think he's going anywhere because Brad Treliving's been adamant that they're going to get a deal done.
So they got Johnny T on the wing. I love how Biz weaseled this into Leafs talk, but is Johnny T on the wing to start camp?
I don't know.
That's what they said. They were saying that the other night on the press conferences. Or they can go 3 down the middle.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like
3 down the middle.
Like I know John Tavares making 11.5 is not ideal as a third line center, but he's going to be chewing up guys in that matchup. Where if all of a sudden you have Nylander at second line center with Matthews at number 1, we're talking about as much center depth as the LA Kings and the Las Vegas Golden Knights here.
James Myrtle tweeted that the lines would be Bertuzzi, Matthews, Marner, Nyes, Tavares, Lafferty, Robertson, Nylander, Domi, Yarncroc, Kampf, and Reeves. It's a good lineup.
Need a timeout to yourself here, Biz, or what?
Is Lafferty so that would be the third. So he listed the second line. That would be the third line, technically.
You don't even fucking need defense. Me and you could be a third pairing on that team with that offense.
Give me Edmonton.
Oh,
what else is in the drama pool here? RA, is there anything else?
Restricted free agents. Still got a couple of them out there. The biggest one, Anaheim Duck, Trevor Zegras. Hopefully I'm saying this tonight. Renaud Lavoie said on TVA Sports that the Ducks are offering $3 to $4 million per year. Murls, he heard he was getting offered 3 years at $4 million per. Pierre LeBrun said both sides agreed on 3 years, but not necessarily the money. So actually, Murls, we'll go to you. Is this a low ball offer? Are they trying to play hardball? Verbeek sending a message? What do you got for us, buddy?
Yeah, Verbeek low ball offer. It's confirmed 3 years, $4 million. I got that confirmed on good sources, and there's been at least 3 teams to reach out to them for a trade already. So we could see him moving, and the guy we were just talking about would be a nice little.
Who's the team?
I heard one rumor, the Sabres. I like to think Toronto would be in on that. I could see a Nylander switched right over for Zegras.
You're out
Zegras
of
comes
your
in.
fucking mind, dude. That was a worse take than your fucking Darnell Nurse at 8 to 12 minutes.
Anaheim would happily pay him the $10 million he wants, and then Toronto could get Zegras $7-8 million, and there you go. You got your second line center.
No.
Making both teams happy here.
No. As far as the Buffalo Sabres, now I'm drawing a blank on the coach's names. Is it Granato?
Yep. Don Granato. Yep.
Donnie Granato.
We've had guys on, and he really likes to give players a leash offensively. So when hearing that come up, I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of sense, because it seems like the biggest issue that Verbeek has is he doesn't trust that Zegras is a playoff type player, and maybe hasn't developed his defensive game enough where he all of a sudden wants to send him this prove-it offer at 3 years, $4 million a year. Let's not forget, guys, I know that he's, an offensive dynamo and maybe lacks the defensive skills, but this guy led their fucking team in scoring last year.
He's got 126 points the last 2 years, and he's 22 years old.
I think that's a slap in the face offer. I would see like a 2 year at $5 million a year as a fair deal to get done as a prove it type contract.
How about with
3
his numbers?
years?
If they want 3 years, they can't do 3 years, $18 million.
Well, the worst part about it for
nuts.
Well, the worst part about it for Zegras is usually what they do is on the third year of the contract is where you would get your qualifying offer, and then they have to automatically bump it up, I believe, 20 or 15 or 10, 15%. What's the automatic bump up?
It used to be 10 when we
10% on a
played.
QO. Yeah, it used to be 10%.
Is it 10?
On a qualifying offer? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So all of a sudden, like, he's got no position on the third year of his contract to get a major bump, because they're going to still have him 1 year restricted at the end of that 3 year term. And I think we could all agree that for a $4 million a year offer is an absolute dump on the chest for Trevor Zegras.
That's what the worm makes in Chicago.
And on top of that, everything he does for you off the ice from a marketing standpoint, he's fucking dating a wiggle dicker right now who's like world famous.
He's the face of the league. He was on the video game last year. He's the one that does all the highlight reel goals that all the networks want to keep showing. So,
and Verbeek's argument is that's not going to win you games. I don't think you need to have
bigger fish to fry.
I don't think you need a crystal ball to understand that there's major beef between what Verbeek thinks of Zegras' game and what Zegras thinks of Zegras' game.
But at least Zegras' numbers are there. Like I do not think that the hockey world would blink an eye or bat an eye, whatever the saying is, if we heard that he signed a 3 year, $18 million deal. I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty fair. 61 and 65 points.
You know how you get league revenue up? You do a fucking Steve Stamkos, Julien Brisebois main card, and then you do a Zegras Verbeek undercard and get them right in the ring, and they can fucking figure it out there with the contracts.
No headgear.
In a ladder match. That's how you get this shit figured out. Who knew before training camp had begun that we'd have this type of fucking drama? I love it.
And by the way, throughout all of this, Drysdale has it.
He's not even at
Where
camp.
is Drysdale? What does he want? What are they offering him?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
So I was just going to ask you guys, like, Rasmus Dahlin has a pending contract coming up in Buffalo. Would you guys trade Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale to Buffalo for Rasmus Dahlin?
Yes.
What?
A future stud defenseman? And Zegras for
no, buddy. You got a
you
top.
Wouldn't trade. You have Owen Power, and you wouldn't trade Dahlin, who doesn't play defense.
Dahlin has already showed you. Dahlin has already showed you that he can do it. He's a top 10 to 15 defensemen in the world. If you fucking trade a guy who's proved it, coming off of his entry level, who apparently they can lock in for $9 million, any Sabres fan listening right now is punching their fucking steering wheel thinking that you would trade Drysdale and Zegras for their stud defenseman. I don't give a fuck if they have Owen Power in the pipeline. They're building from the...
I think you're underrating what Drysdale showed when he was 20 years old and had like 36
He
points.
played
dude.
fucking 5 games last year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's coming off an injury, but people at that age, you're coming back from injuries now. That's not the worry out there, is that he's never going to be the same.
Throw the poll up. So by the end of the podcast, we can get the results. I think that we're going to have to go in a witness protection program from Buffalo Sabres fans for Chiclets Cup. We're going to have what's the security that falls around the president?
Secret Service.
We're going to have
dude,
Secret Service at the fact that you think that they would trade. You
These
think
people
I'm
are
crazy?
fucking Buffalo Bills fans, dude. What do you think? These are all geniuses up in Buffalo? You're telling me right now that you wouldn't even consider Drysdale and Zegras for Rasmus Dahlin?
No, not even a chicken dick's chance. And you said Dahlin's apparently
I think
asking
this
for
poll
what?
is going to be a lot closer than you think.
The rumor is that Dahlin has been asking for 10.5, not 9 million. It's 10.5 is what Dahlin's supposedly asking for.
That's what fucking Devon Taves would get in free agency. So I'm interested to see the results.
Hey, I got no problem admitting when I'm wrong. You guys know that about me. But I will be shocked if it's not pretty close to 50-50. Would you trade Drysdale and Zegras for Rasmus Dahlin?
Okay, so I'm saying not a chicken dick's chance. RA, what are you saying if you're Buffalo and you get that proposal?
I mean, I don't think Buffalo wants to trade him at all, but you certainly got to sit and think about that. I mean, when G brought it up, it was kind of like, you think you're going to say no right away, but then you're like, I don't know. It's a very intriguing thing to discuss.
And I'll say this. This is me going on what scouts and what I saw from Drysdale at 20, like that this is a future number 1 stud in the NHL. So obviously, like, if the guy, like, if there's no chance and I don't know what I'm talking about, and this guy's going to be like a career 3rd or 4th defenseman, this sounds stupid, but from what I'm hearing, he could be as good of a player as Dahlin, considering he plays defense too.
Dahlin got a lot better defensively last year and also physical.
Murls, when you watch your
Drysdale's
Sabres
a right shot. Drysdale's the right shot. Hard to
play,
find.
Murls, do you think Dahlin's doing a ton defensively? And I'm not even saying he has to. He gets 80 fucking points. He doesn't have to. But there's a lot of kind of not too much. What's the word when you're getting involved, Biz?
He's a forward half the time he's out there. He's the 4th forward out there most of the time. I think that's a great deal for both teams. I think that can make both teams happy. It's a very interesting one, G.
Hey, you know what? We're going to embrace debate. That's what we need to do here.
Healthy
We're
debate.
embracing
Rico
debate.
Bosco.
I think we just did that.
I popped a vein in my forehead, but we still got to embrace debate.
All I have to say is Tage Thompson, Dylan Cousins, and Trevor Zegras down the middle for the Buffalo Sabres. That is an unbelievable 1-2-3 punch for the next 5 to 10 years.
I'd be curious to know what Yans would think of that.
Put the poll up. And this is how you have to word it. Would you trade...
If you're the Sabres, do you accept the trade?
No. Don't even say either team. Just put it to the fans. Would you trade Rasmus Dahlin for Trevor Zegras and Drysdale? And just write yes or no. And Biz thinks this is going to be like 92% to 8%.
I think 80-20.
I'll update with results soon.
All right.
Hey, and should we put Dahlin at a $10 million tag? No, I'm saying.
No, I think we
don't
play
think
it as
that-
it is right now.
Okay.
No hypotheticals,
All right.
nothing.
All right.
I think Biz is hitting the panic button right now, folks.
Well, I was actually saying more than what I think he's going to get paid. I think 9.5 is a good number for a guy who's restricted. Anyway, RA, what do we got next, brother?
On another note, I heard the Ducks, a lot of them caught the sandbagger. They were big fans of it, from what I understand through the grapevine. Big fans of the last sandbagger as well. So kudos to us.
Nice.
Two other RFAs, 23-year-old Columbus defenseman Tim Burney and 22-year-old Sens center Shane Pinto, the other two RFAs without a deal currently. We talked about captains last week. We said there were 8 teams without a captain. Whit, you predicted Braden Shen for St. Louis. You nailed that. 32-year-old center was named the 24th captain in Blues history. Falk, Parayko, and Thomas are going to get the A's. Shen has 5 years left at $6.5 million, no trade clause, so he's not going anywhere for a while. And then on Wednesday, the Bruins named Brad Marchand 27th captain in team history. Pasta and McAvoy, you got to get the A's. He's got 2 years left at $6.125 million. Monty had a funny joke about it, but I'm sorry, Blackhawks. They're going to go captainless this year. You know why? It was out of respect to Jonathan Taves. They're going to go with the 3 A's. So major surprise on any of those, Whit? Like, not really. You nailed Shen.
I'll take it over
sorry,
quick.
yeah.
Sidney Crosby was named captain in his second year. I would imagine if Bedard puts up the numbers that we are all expecting, that it wouldn't be crazy to think that he would be named captain in his second year.
And considering it wasn't just about Sid getting 100 points, it was the type of person he was, where it was so laser focused.
The drive.
It was the drive. It was there's nothing else but hockey. And I seem to think Bedard has a lot of that in him from like interviews you've seen, and
he's good on the mic already.
Yeah,
like he's comfortable talking to media. He jokes around. He's loose.
I mean, remember when they won the World Juniors and he gave it to that reporter? He's like, I don't want to talk about myself. Like, I think he's got that Sid mold, that Nathan McKinnon mold. It all kind of started with Sid. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It was kind of always Yzerman and Joe Sakic, right? Where it was hockey. It was team first. It wasn't loud. It wasn't Biz and Wit style and Spittin Chiclets. It was just more about being professional and looking at your job as like something that you take so much pride in. So the way Bedard comes off, if he does light it up, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he gets to see the next season.
Yeah. It all started with Gretzky. All those young kids all used to go and meet with Gretzky and learn from him how to be the leader, how to deal with the media. You still see it with Connor now. It sounds just like Gretzky when he talks. I got a little fun trivia for your question. Since we're talking about captains, I saw Sid. He's the longest standing captain, obviously, in the league. Who's the longest captain for a single team ever in the NHL?
The longest what?
He was a captain for the longest, like the most years in his team ever in the NHL.
Stevie Yzerman?
There you go. There you got it. 19 years.
I thought it was
I'm the
maybe
best.
Ray Bork.
I'm the best.
Ray Bork had to
Just ask me.
right up there.
We talked captains last week. You were looking for a specific term. I said Rorschach test, but then I went back and listened to the pod. I don't think that was what you were looking for. Was it flashcards? Were you thinking flashcards last week?
I was thinking flashcards, but I thought there was a name for when they show you a flashcard of like what looks like a placenta and you say what first comes to your head.
Yeah, that's the Rorschach test. So, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
so you got it right, buddy.
Yeah, bingo, bango. Biz, your boys are down under this week. Good night, mate.
60-40 right now, Biz.
For me?
Oh.
For you, 621 votes.
So I've got a ways to
So
go.
that actually could get worse.
Wait,
Yeah,
you got to go read the comments too. They're like, the comments are kind of just what Biz was saying. They're
There
like,
you
"Why
go.
the fu-
Suck
Buffalo,
on that.
Okay, you know
Buffalo
what?
is mad.
All right,
Buffalo
you know
is
what?
mad.
You know what? I'm going to take every single person's name on here, and if in 2 years Drysdale turns into what people say he's going to turn into, I'm going to DM all of them and say, suck nothing.
Suck nothing. Suck my placenta. All right. Yeah. Coyotes in Australia against the LA
people
Kings.
Are saying Drysdale's trash on this.
Really?
Yeah, Biz, down in Australia, LA, Arizona, all the way down there for a couple exhibition games, hoping to grow the game here. The games are being played at Rod Laver Arena. Is actually where the Australian Open and tennis is played. But Craig Morgan, the great Coyotes reporter, he said that last night there were puddles, ruts, and uneven coloring on the ice that led to the practice being moved. I think they fixed a few of the things in the meantime. But I just want to say, Biz, we've had, since we started Chiclets, a lot of love from Australia. So to all the blokes and cheerleaders down there, thank you, mate. They've been great for supporting us. I was hoping we went down there, to be honest with you, man. That
The Australian Ice Hockey Federation has been set up for, I think, over 100 years as of right now. Like, it was one of the first places to introduce ice hockey. So as far as the history of the game there, it goes on forever. Obviously, it hasn't developed at the pace that in which they probably expected, but they do have a professional league over there. When I went over there for the Olympic Network, we covered it, and they have 2 teams in Melbourne, and I think the league has about 8 to 10 teams all up the Sunshine Coast. So it's cool, man. It'd be an awesome place to play, and I was surprised to hear that the ice was melting because it's their winter right now. So it's not like the temperature is that hot.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't hot there. It's just, it's the first time though. I mean, you're building a rink in a place that never had a rink before. So it's, I mean, logistics. A lot of things could probably go wrong. But either way, looks like they might have rectified it and moving right along. But if you had a team in Australia, there's so many crazy, dangerous animals you can name the team after. Like Australia leads the league in poisonous, deadly animals between like the snakes, the fucking anything in the outback. It's a wild.
The Melbourne Keiths.
My son got a book. It's like who would win, great white shark versus a killer whale, and one of them is tarantula versus a scorpion. Who do you think would take that one down?
Well, considering a tarantula lived for a long time at somebody's house, we'll get to later. I might go with the scorpion on that one.
This book said that the scorpion would just get it with the stinger, and then it paralyzes their leg, and then that's it.
They're donezo.
Actually, Biz, if I'm not mistaken, Australia has a pretty key role in Chiclets history. If I'm not mistaken, when we invited you to join the show and you said yes, you were in Australia.
I was
correct?
there filming it for the Olympic Network. Wow. So I was there for about 9 days. I rave about Melbourne all the time when I talk about Australia. The cuisine there, the food, the restaurants were incredible, and the coffee. I always go back to the coffee.
Plus the kangaroos.
Flat white.
What's that, Murls?
The flat white. They all have the flat white coffee down there. That's what everybody want to talk about in Australia.
Bunch of fucking jacked kangaroos as well. They look like they did about 15 to 20 at fucking Sing Sing. Some of those kangaroos, big time jacked up. Let's see. Ottawa Senators sale has gone through. The Board of Governors unanimously approved the Sen sale to a group led by Michael Andlauer. Price was close to $1 billion. Eugene Melnick's daughters are going to retain 10% of the team as well. So thankfully, that went through without a hitch. Imagine $1 billion for the Senators, man. That's tremendous. You can only imagine what a team like the Kings or the fucking Bruins or Canadians are worth that.
I'll tell you, though, I've been very hard on the Ottawa Senators over the years, and it's been a tough go, right? And the arena is just in a horrible location. I root for the Senators to get good, and I think back to those teams that just couldn't get by the Leafs when Hossa was young and Martin Havlat, and they had Chara and Redden. I'd love to see the Senators get good again. I think, obviously, it's well known that for Buffalo, the Detroit Red Wings, and Ottawa, it's a big-time make-or-break season. But for Ottawa to get good, just experiencing playing there in the playoffs, that first year the Penguins made the playoffs in Sid's second season, when I was there, the atmosphere was out of control. The horn they had, the fans, and it's just been a long run for those fans not to have much to cheer about. So I hope they get it going. I feel like getting a new owner is an enormous first step. It's not like Eugene Melnick had the best reputation with the fans, I'll say. Not really fair to kind of go at a guy. He's passed away, but it's still one of those organizations and cities and markets that if they were good and if they exploded, it adds the Maple Leafs and the Senators rivalry. It would be a great thing for the league. So anytime a fan base goes through years and years of pain, and you'll see the Commanders, the Washington Commanders, and how happy they are. You get a new owner. It's just this new jolt of life. You could see great things on the horizon for that team, and it's exciting as a fan of the league and somebody who hopes Ottawa gets pretty good. You got to be fired up for all those people.
Yeah, wait. While you were boring me with that rant, I don't know if you mentioned. I'm just fucking with you. Did you mention the party district in the new rink that they've been talking about?
No.
Well, that was part of like what a few of the ownership groups that were approaching them about buying the team were really emphasizing. It's like the rink out in Canada is not going to be the long-term play here. Like they need to get a rink back downtown and kind of get that city vibing again.
I've never been downtown Ottawa.
It's a bit of a sleepy downtown. I mean, of course, it's a Parliament town. That's where all the politics goes down in Canada. That's where people were standing up and saying, Ryan Whitney doesn't like Pearson Airport, so change it up.
The Prime Minister listen to Whit.
Listen to Ryan Whitney.
That's where that was going down.
Oh yeah,
one of the best quotes
buddy.
ever.
We should go to Ottawa for a trip.
I'm down. Hey, yeah, Pierre Dorian's done a great job.
down for fucking any trip ever.
That shouldn't surprise you. Pierre Dorian.
Speaking of politicians, how about this girl getting tugging off that dude in the movie theater? The American politician, and she's not bad.
No, she's nice. And they were at
Makeup does
Beetlejuice,
wonders.
dude. They were at the play Beetlejuice.
Whiskey
and she was
Tango.
tugging this guy off with her hammers hanging out.
Yeah.
That was a first date, too. That was the first time they went on a date together.
Stroking them off. Fucking. God,
they must have been like on shrooms or something. It's like Beetlejuice. You're doing this during Beetlejuice?
Yeah. Let's move it along,
Kind of gets me going.
Pierre Dorian's done a great job, though. And with Brady Tkachuk, he'll get them in the playoffs, man. Tremendous leader, just like his old man. So it's going to happen soon. But, boys, we haven't even gotten to the Metropolitan preview yet. First team, we're going to go with the New Jersey Devils. Gee, you have anybody in the closet for us hiding out or what? Okay, maybe not.
Oh, the master of the
that's not G.
sandbaggers.
That's not G. Holy shit.
The man behind the magic.
Pasha, what's up, buddy? Let's kind of run over some numbers here. Last season, of course, 52, 22, and 8, 112 points. Second in the Metro, third out of 32 teams. They lost in the second round to Carolina, 4-1, 9-1 to win the Cup this year. They made some big moves here. Tyler Toffoli, they brought in Colin Miller, Eric Colgren, Thomas Noshik, Cal Foote. They did lose Sharon Govich, Damon Severson, Ryan Graves. That's some huge D. Miles Wood, Jesper Boquist, Thomas Tatar, Jonathan Bernier. They got a little bit of cap space yet, but Pasha, they made some huge strides last year. Jack Hughes, obviously in that superstar realm. What do you got for us this year, buddy?
What are you growing in there, by the way? It looks like RA's basement.
I got the jungle vibes going in my apartment. But before we get into the Devils talk, I just have to throw my hat in the ring on the little debate you guys just had. I'm on business side. I would not trade Rasmus Dahlin for Zegras and Drysdale.
So I'm almost all ready to like say that I was so stupid.
Oh, you're flip-flopping already? Shocker.
No, I'm not. I'm not flip-flopping already. I want to see Drysdale, but it sounds like everyone thinks Drysdale's like not good. So I didn't really know that. So
no, not at all. I don't think that's the speculation. I think he's going to be a really good top 2 D-man. But I think Dahlin's your number 1 pillar guy. He's going to be a top 5, 6 D-man in the league. Big body, 6'3". Like you don't replace that. They don't come by every day. And that's no knock on Zegras and Drysdale, who I think are unbelievable players. But I'm with Biz on this one.
Smartest thing you've ever said.
Oh, you're with Biz. I can't believe it, dude. Carry fucking Biz's water all over this continent. You're with Biz. Let me show you my surprise face.
Now, Posh, what do we need to know about this Devils team? Are they going to take another step?
Well, yeah, I think you just said it already. I mean, the Devils team kind of, surprised the hockey world, everybody except for me last year. That unbelievable season. I am looking for them to take another step this year. I put together a list of 5 predictions, I think, for this coming year for them. I'll start off with the first one. I think the Devils lead the league in goals scored this year. And I think they do it off the back of 5 different 30-goal scorers. I think Hughes, Bratt, Hischier, Meyer, and then one of either Toffoli or Mercer get 30 goals. I think it's going to be a high-flying offensive team. Last year, Buffalo led the league with 4 separate 30-goal scorers. I'm thinking Jersey breaks that this year. And yeah, that's my first prediction. I think it's going to be high-flying offense. Luke Hughes is going to be dynamic, spark some life in that second unit power play. I think they're going to be scoring a lot of goals.
Pasha, are you at all worried? And be honest, are you worried about the goaltending? And granted, I had no idea about Schmid, and then the guy was in the USHL 2 years ago. He looked great in the playoffs. But there has to be some part of you deep down that knows that Vanacek and Schmid could not be the answer as the season goes on. At least to try to win a Stanley Cup.
You think Asia Akira Schmid's the answer?
So that's another one of my 5 points. I predict Schmid's going to take over as a starter by Christmas time. That being said, well, yes, there is that shadow of a doubt in my mind. Obviously Schmid's small sample size is not proven. But I mean, what I saw in the playoffs was unbelievable. This guy comes in the pressure situation, MSG down 2-0 in the series. And this guy was so calm, cool, and collected. Just settled the team down. Didn't give up rebounds. Big bodied guy. It just, from what I saw, I really liked it. He's really young still. I think he's the future of their goaltending. But of course, small sample size, I do think that is a bit of a question mark. It's far from a sure thing.
You still got 4 more predictions, right?
Oh, I got 3 more. So those 2 of them. And the other one that I think today's guest on our show, Nico Hischier, I think he wins the Selke Trophy. First Devil since John Madden in 2001 to win the Selke. I think with Bergeron gone now, it opens up the door for him. This guy's an unbelievable 2-way player, as you guys know. So I think he wins the Selke. Number 4, Luke Hughes. I think he's a Calder finalist. I think barring injury, Bedard's a lock to get it. Bedard, Fantilli, and Hughes, I think, are the 3 that are going to be nominated. So I think Hughes has a massive year. And with all that being said, my 5th prediction, I do think there is a regression in the regular season for them. I do think they have a slightly worse regular season than they did last year. Just, losing Severson and Graves, that's a lot of experience on the back end. Kevin Ball is going to fill the role of Graves of kind of eating pops for breakfast. And then Luke Hughes is going to step in for Severson for a little bit of offense. But there's going to be growing pains. So I think, that's going to hurt them a little bit. But my prediction is they finish second in the Metro again to Carolina.
I'm just curious, Pasha. What are they saying as camp begins about Nemec? Because you got Luke Hughes, this absolute stud. I think he was 4th overall. And then you obviously got Dougie Hamilton signed to a long-term deal. Tommy Fitzgerald with an absolute steal job of John Marino. But then the fact that they still have the 2nd overall pick 2 years ago, that isn't even really on the roster, in the plans to be in the opening night roster, but could he come up throughout the season and make an impact? Like, why is Hughes guaranteed on the team and he isn't?
I just think the flashes that Hughes showed last year kind of showed that, all right, like we threw this guy in the fire in the playoffs and he's ready to perform. I think Nemitz didn't have the best camp last year, so that kind of hurt him. I would say, yeah, there's 2 wild cards this year, and it's Nemitz and Holtz. Nemitz, yeah, I think I would lean towards he makes the team. I think they're going to give him every chance to make it, but I think it's far from a lock. You know, he's a right-handed guy. I think he'll get in with relatively sheltered minutes. So I think he's, I'd say there's a good chance he makes the team, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they season him a bit more. And Alex Holtz, it's obviously super early, but every indication from the first couple of days of camp is this guy is a lot faster of a skater this year.
Okay,
he trained he trained with Brad's skating coach.
He looked a little bit rough and out of place last year in the games
he
that
did.
he got.
Yeah, I remember that game. I remember the game we went to against Chicago in Jersey when first team said, like, this guy's boots are not there. They're not there. That was the knock on him. So he trained with Brad's skating coach all summer in Sweden, and everyone's saying he looks a lot faster. So if he can come in and slot in a top 9, maybe even a top 6 role, with the addition of Toffoli and all those guys, because I think these Devils give your teams a run for the money for deepest top 9 in the league.
Oh, and Timo Meier, I wouldn't say like knocked the socks off all of us last year when coming over. You think he gels in a little bit more this season? Like, where do you see his numbers at?
Absolutely. I think he gets 40 goals again, right around 40 goals. This guy's just a big body power forward. I think he's the exact kind of player they need. Again, obviously numbers speak louder than everything, but I mean, watching him play last year, the guy was dominating the game. I know the numbers weren't there, but he was crushing guys, generating chances. I think now that he has a chance to settle in, get used to the new environment, I'm expecting him to go back to what he's been as kind of perennial 35, 40 goal scorer.
I think that Toffoli pickup is one of the sneakiest pickups of the offseason. Just a natural goal scorer. He kind of went away for a couple years in LA when they were struggling right after Rob Blake took over and they went through their dog days, but he is back to fucking putting the puck in the back of the net. I want to say he was Calgary's leading scorer last year. He might have even had 40. So they had him to the mix, which probably helps Holtz out on that right side to kind of develop and get to learn from the wily veteran.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the Devils, for all the skill players they have, they don't really have a lot of pure snipers. Toffoli's that right-handed shot sniper guy that can finish on the power play. Their power play wasn't great last year for kind of all the skill they have. So I think he's going to make a big impact on the power play. RN, you always give me a hard time because when the trade broke, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it. That's because my first thought.
You dogged him. You dogged him right away.
No. I didn't dog him. I said, I'm not sure how I feel about the trade. I have to think about it because the first thought was foot speed. Devils are the fastest team in the league. Toffoli's not the fastest player. But he's a smart guy who uses smarts to get in positions to use his shot better. And I think, like I said, power play is going to be a huge factor. I'm not so sure he's going to have huge 5-on-5 numbers, but I do like the trade now that I've kind of digested a bit already. So back off on that.
Well, in fairness, you had no idea he had 30 goals. You're like, holy shit, I didn't know he had 30.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. I hadn't done my homework on Toffoli. That is true.
A cup-winning veteran with tons of experience. And I guess they're talking extension for Lindy as well, Fitzy mentioned. Have you heard that one yet, Pash?
Yeah, it's kind of in a weird spot. I guess he had an option on his last contract that he kind of exercised without anyone knowing. So he was kind of in limbo. But yeah, Fitzy said yesterday, I think, that they're working on an extension. I think that's great. I mean, he's done a great job. He lets the guys kind of just do their thing offensively. And obviously whatever's going is working. So I like that.
And Pasha, I want to get the bets here before the season starts officially. What's the one with Biz and what's the one with Witt?
Okay, so as of right now, last year they didn't make the Eastern Conference Finals. If they don't make it this year, I don't have to get a tattoo of the New Jersey Devils mascot on my ass. But you have to play along too if I'm going to go through with this.
No, we agreed. We agreed. My side of it was that if the Devils lost that Devils-Rangers series, I would have to go in a Patrick Kane jersey to MSG in round 2.
Okay, but we have to carry one over for this year. So I'll give you one or two options. You start an OnlyFans and the Devil's mascot has to fist fuck you in the ass for our fan base to purchase. You can make a little bit of money. You can make a little bit of money, and or
that's outrageous.
Gentle. He's
from
gentle,
the minute they get eliminated to the end of the Stanley Cup Finals, you have to wear your hair like alfalfa. You have to part it in the middle, and you have to put the little.
Those are outrageous.
What do you mean? That's not
Pasha,
even
let Pasha, let me help you out here. Biz is an idiot for making this bet. He's now trying to make you do something that you never agreed to when
Put
the
your
bet was
fucking
made.
balls on the line.
Correct.
What do you mean? I'm
What are
putting
you
my
talking
fucking
about?
balls on the
No,
line.
buddy, you put your balls on the line because you thought they were so bad. You thought there was absolutely no chance it would ever happen.
And that was
they're
out of
good,
nowhere.
And you want to have him have to do something.
And that was out of nowhere.
Well, you
I'm
have
on
to
business side
entertain our
here.
fucking fans. Do something.
I will continue your fans.
Other than
Getting
stroke off your fucking boy Jack Hughes, fucking do something.
fisted by the mascot's outrageous. That's not the same plan as getting a
Well, I
tattoo.
bet
And
you'd
second
like
of
that,
all,
you sick fuck.
second
I
of all,
remember when
after
we
they
made
get
the
a
bet, though, Pasha, I remember when we made the bet, you agreed that you would do something. It wasn't like Biz is just throwing this clause in there. Like you did say, I will do something. We just have to think
I
of
agree.
it.
And then last year we said if the Devils lose to the Rangers, I have to go with Patrick Kane jersey
So
MSG.
what's the bet this year?
I'm down absolutely, but I'm not getting fisted by the mascot. And the second thing, listen, I don't think the Devils are going to win the cup this year. So that's like a guarantee that for X amount of time, I'm going to wear my hair like that. Fuck that. Like the odds there are skewed. That's like, I'm guaranteed to have to do that. Whereas yours, there's a good chance you're not going to have to get a tattoo. So we can talk about this.
How about this? It'll be a progression. If they don't make playoffs, you get fisted in the ass by the mascot. If they get beat out in the first round, you have to wear your hair like alfalfa. And then if they get bounced in the second round, it could be something innocent. But if they don't make playoffs, Pasha, and they regress that much, you should be taking the mascot's fist in your ass.
No, he should do. If they don't make the playoffs, he gets Biz Nasty tattooed on his ass.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then
I'm not
they
getting
lose.
fisted. I'm not getting fisted by the fucking
And then,
mascot.
you think
That's
he wants that?
outrageous.
He's your buddy. He's your butt buddy. And by the way, if the regression could also mean they lose in the first round. If they lose in the first round, it shouldn't be as bad as missing the playoffs. But yeah, there should be something there. But the whole getting fisted on OnlyFans is a tad aggressive.
What about Peter Mansbiz?
If they
Shave
lose
your
in the
head,
first
Pasha.
round, Peter
Shave your
Mansbis.
head.
No, dude, because that's so outrageous. Because when you made the bet, it was a long shot for the Devils to make the conference finals. If the Devils lose in the first round, there's a very good chance that happens. I
got one. He should have to, if they lose for so Pasha, you're in agreement. If something happens and they miss the playoffs, you get the in cursive Biz Nasty on your ass cheek. Okay.
Yeah.
And if they lose first round, you have to get your eyebrow pierced and wear a Rangers logo in the eyebrow till playoffs end.
No, of the team who eliminates them. Of the team who eliminates them. Or does he want the Rangers?
Either or, whatever
Rangers,
you want.
Rangers,
so it's
Rangers
more
ain't
about the
making
eyebrow
playoffs.
piercing for whatever it would be, 2 months after the first round ends.
Yeah.
All right.
That's if they get eliminated in the first round?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we can all agree they're making playoffs. I got them making playoffs. Hey, a round of applause too for Pasha. That's a great breakdown, and I love the 5 notes there. Oh, round of applause.
They are an amazing team. I can't believe I'm saying it this quick, but after last year and seeing how fast they are and seeing Jack Hughes, the worst decision of my life making that bet.
Yes.
They are an incredible club.
Did you explain the financial bet? I think everybody who listens knows it.
Yeah,
it's 100 points.
My bet was I don't even know why I made this because I really like Jack Hughes. I think he's unreal. I think you pissed me off so much talking about him that I don't know what I was thinking. I said
we were in dinner in Buffalo, shit-faced after the sandbagger. We were just arguing about the Devils.
I said if he doesn't get 100 points or more in the next 3 seasons, that I owe Pasha $3,000, and if he doesn't do it, he owes me $3,000. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, the only thing that could stop him from getting 100 points in this year or next year is if he were to get injured. I do not want that to happen. I'm making that abundantly clear.
Knock on the Pink Whitney wood sign there.
And he finished last year with 99 fucking points, and you can't make this shit up.
I met him, and he's a great kid, and he's an incredible player to watch. So it's like the worst. I tried buying out of it. And scumbag Pasha over there wouldn't let me. So it is what it is.
I got a proposition. Would you guys consider upping the ante where if it was 108 points, but the bet doubled? Would you consider that, Whit? 108 points, but if he gets it, you owe him $6,000?
And if he doesn't, I lose the bet?
No, maybe we could work out a different way the other way, but
no, because I'm already I like the Devils. and I like Hughes, so I'm already it would just create more rooting against him.
Sure.
I don't want it.
He would be the first Devil in history to reach 100 points. Isn't he the highest scoring season, the single season highest scoring Devil of all time already at his young age?
The last week of the season there, he beat Patrick Elias, who had 96, I believe, and then fizzled out a little bit. He got hurt for 4 games. He really killed his mojo there. He was buzzing, and then in overtime of the 82nd game of the regular season, got an apple just to put it on 99, right on the edge there.
Who knew how to keep those stats down, Biz, back in the day?
Final offer before we move on to our next team, Pasha. Can I pay you $1,000 right now and have this bet
Absolutely
be over?
not.
You're
you
the
wish.
biggest piece of shit.
Wow.
You wish.
1,500?
You wish. Nope.
Wow.
1,700 final offer.
2,900 final offer.
Fuck you, Pasha. Get this guy off my
Get
screen.
the fuck
G.
off the screen, you pigeon.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Always
Yeah,
good to
love
see
ya.
it, but Biz, I'd be shocked if 80% of our audience even knows who Alfalfa is in this day and age. I mean, obviously, this crew does.
Well,
You know,
we could put a picture up on the screen for
Well,
everybody.
that's the same.
in
That's the
edit.
same percentage of people that are going to find out that I mentioned Drysdale and Zegras for Darlene that lost their mind. So in the end, I'm like -7 this episode.
All right. Well, Devils fans, you waited long enough. We're going to send it over to your captain, Nico Hischier, right now. Enjoy it.
What's up, guys? This interview is brought to you by our great friends at Chevy. Chevy is working to make charging simple with over 110,000 charging stations across the U.S., Canada, and growing. Chevy is the go-to electric car on the market. Looking for a co-pilot? Look no further than your smartphone. When using the My Chevrolet mobile app with Energy Assist, the app allows you to access vehicle information like battery status and charging settings from anywhere. The Energy Assist feature intelligently plans your routes, tells you where and how long to charge up, and gives you real-time data about charging station availability. There are 3 different home charging levels available. Chevy electric vehicles offer great options for charging, all of them as simple as plugging in your smartphone. Learn more at chevy.com/electric. That's chevy.com/electric. Thank you to Chevy, our great friends, and now to the interview.
All right, it's time to bring on our next guest. He was the first Swiss player to be taken #1 overall in the NHL draft. He then made the New Jersey Devils right out of camp as an 18-year-old and just completed his 6th season already. And he's here in Nashville because he's a finalist for the Selke Trophy tonight. We're happy to welcome to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Nico Hischier. How you enjoying Nashville so far, brother?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I mean, it's fun. Definitely fun town. Different for me, coming from Switzerland. Not much country music, but I like the vibes. It was good times. So
I
far.
read that you're a big rap guy.
Where did you read that?
I don't know.
I mean,
You just made it up.
I just made it up.
Swiss
No,
rap. They rap in like 5 different
actually,
languages.
Swiss rap, but I listen to like a lot of music. Just kind of depends what I'm up to. But coming from Europe, I like techno a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, you like the clubs,
So,
the discotheques?
Yeah, I don't mind that, but I listen, like I said, like not a big country guy, but coming here, it's a vibe. Like now I like it. So listen to everything a little bit.
It's crazy to me. RA says it was your 6th season already. Like, I mean, I just feel like you were just came into the league. So for yourself, like, how quickly has it gone by? How exciting is it now for the team you guys have compared to what you had coming in? And just basically your overall thoughts on being in Jersey, being the captain now, and how it's all progressed.
Yeah, like you said, it goes fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you guys probably know better than me. It just goes like this. And yeah, I was thinking that too. Next year's going to be my 7th year. So it does go fast, but I'm really happy in Jersey. I'm happy what we have there right now and where we're going. And yeah, I just hope we can take step by step. And last year was obviously a big step for us. And yeah, I just hope it'll keep going like that.
How did you bump up offensively? What was it coming into the season that changed? Was it last summer's training regimen? Like all of a sudden you set career highs in what? Goals, assists, and points?
You know, I was just trying to do my thing. And I guess, yeah, I just took another step, which I was expecting of myself. And I guess the team was expecting that. And I'm glad I could do that. But I didn't do like anything crazy, like changing wise. I just try to keep like working out and keep working on my stuff I always done. And just trying to progress as a player and develop me as a player year by year.
Do you spend every summer in Switzerland? You go home each year?
Yeah, I'm usually always back home in Switzerland and come back when the season starts.
I always see Instagram videos. It's a beautiful country. It's
It's incredible.
like,
I couldn't get a
spot.
job in the Swiss league. I thought
Did you
I'd
play
be like,
Worlds there?
what?
Did you play Worlds there back in
No.
like when were we there?
No.
Like 09
But
or
I
something?
always wanted
you
to
were
play
in the
that.
cup final.
It's the best. It's the best place to play over in Europe, I would say. But it's a lot harder than people realize to get a job as an import. But like I love getting to talk to you. Have we had a Swiss player on before? I don't know if we have, but because it's becoming better and better at hockey. You got Yossi, yourself, but for growing up, like I'm assuming soccer was probably a little bit bigger in that country. I don't know for you personally, like what it was like as a youngster playing hockey over there.
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of different sports, but I did play soccer as well in Switzerland. And but it's kind of, I think it's like same right now, like hockey and soccer.
The two biggest.
Yeah, in Switzerland. But obviously there's like skiing is big in Switzerland, stuff like that. But hockey is, like you said, it's actually a fun league there with like
Fast.
some fans and fast league. And they just bumped up the amount of players you can have as imports in the Swiss
They changed,
teams.
so it was
Yeah.
3 when I was trying to get a
Yeah,
job.
now
they change it.
Yeah,
Now they changed it.
Murls has another country to be mad at.
You should call them again now.
Yeah, right. I'm sure I'd get a job now. But all right, so growing up, what was your team over there? Like, what was the team you played for growing up?
Okay, growing up, I grew up in like a small village kind of where, so my team that I grew up with playing it's called FISP, like EHC FISP. But when I was 15, I moved to Bern, which is the capital of Switzerland.
Great place to play.
Yeah.
They 18,000 a game, right?
Yeah,
rink,
it's
huge rink.
it's it's a great time. Yeah, it's really something special. I had my first pro game there, and it was
I got
just
to jump
running
in
out
here.
there. Yeah, it was
I got to
crazy.
jump in here before we get to his pro career. You know Ryan Whitney won the Quebec Pee Wee tournament, right? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah,
I've never mentioned
I was
it.
there
But
too.
did
yeah.
you know
No way.
he was the leading scorer his year in Quebec Pee Wee
No
tournament?
shit.
Is
Well,
that true?
I worry more about team accomplishments. Sorry.
I love that.
I saw it
Yeah,
on the
but didn't
internet.
win it.
19 points in 6 games, Quebec.
He,
Pee Wee
he
tournament.
also
It's
likes
gotta be
rap,
true.
according to the internet.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, but yeah, no wins though.
You didn't
we
win
didn't
the
win.
tournament like the Whit.
Okay, well, in terms of like you as a youngster, and not a ton of Swiss players have been in the NHL. Well, there's been a good amount, but was your goal almost to play in the league over there? Like, was that kind of your dream as a young kid, or were you always thinking NHL?
Both.
Yeah,
I think both. First, for sure, I wanted to just play hockey.
yeah.
Do that as my job, and obviously, growing up in Switzerland, there's a league, and watching them, it was always a kind of goal, like working myself up to like this level, and after that, when I got my first phone kind of stuff, I was looking like all the NHL games, and it was pretty clear from that point on that at some point I want to try to come over and play here. So
Is it something they really emphasize over in Swiss as far as the defensive side of the game? Or that's obviously a big part of what you bring to the table. Good 200 foot. You're always responsible, always on the right side of the puck. Like, who taught you that coming up, and as far as hockey was concerned?
yeah, I actually was really offensive when I was young, but at some point was talking to some coaches, and after that I was like seeing Pavel Datsyuk play. That's like
He was
kind of
your
my
guy?
That's your guy, eh?
So I was like, I got inspired by his game, and I mean, he's obviously a unbelievable player, and you can put him on if you need a goal, if you're like up a goal, if you're down a goal, and that's kind of like what I was trying to do. And then from that point, I was trying to work my defensive game a lot too, and took pride in that. So
that was one of the things that I read that was correct. You idolized Pavel Datsyuk coming up. So was it a case of you watching games like and tape over there? Because obviously with the time change and everything going on, like how did you watch and kind of emulate your game after him?
Yeah, for me it was, like I said, when I started watching the NHL, I never really had a favorite team growing up, but I was always like a Datsyuk fan, so I obviously followed the Red Wings, and but when people ask me like, what's your favorite team growing up, I just always answered. I didn't have one. I was just like legit just following the Pavel Datsyuk and watching all the highlights of him and I got just inspired by his game, and that's kind of what I wanted to do after.
You mentioned, your mother and father and brother and sister here. So was your dad the one who got you into hockey? Did he play? Did your brother play? Things like that. Like, who got you into the game?
My brother did. My
Right.
brother's
He's
4 years older. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I mean, they're kind of my idol too. Like, always want to do whatever he did. So he got me into it. My dad was actually a little soccer player. He was a soccer player, so he didn't really play hockey, but he always enjoyed like going to like hockey games. And I think my mom took my brother once skating, and then after that
was
my
it.
brother did it. I wanted to do it.
I think
so.
your family's a bunch of athletes too, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, my mom used to swim.
Yeah, your mom was met her
swimmer.
last night. She's tall.
Yeah,
Like, she's
she
tall.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to you?
Who's that?
Yeah.
What, you think I'm small? No, I'm not big, but I wouldn't say I'm small.
Was she competitive
average.
swimmer though?
Average. I'll take average.
She's a competitive swimmer.
She was. Yeah,
Yeah.
She did that, and my dad was a soccer player, and then my sister played volleyball. She's I mean, you probably saw her too. She's
Yeah.
pretty tall too.
Yeah.
And my brother plays hockey in the Swiss league. So
Oh, he does? What
Yeah.
teams he play for?
he plays right now for Biel.
Okay.
Again.
They lost in the finals.
Yeah, against Geneva.
We were following them this year.
Witt's kind of you're kind of a bandwagon fan as far as soccer. Who's your squad? Chelsea.
Chelsea's my team.
You're a big Man U guy.
Tough year. Then,
Oh,
huh?
yeah, it's ugly. Oh, you're going to take Mount. You're going to go after Mason Mount, I'm reading. Oh, you're a Manchester United guy?
No.
Oh,
Who's your
okay.
team?
I like Liverpool.
Liverpool. Oh my God.
I like
Okay, I don't know where the hell I'm getting my
Liverpool.
research from.
Liverpool
Jesus
or,
Christ.
That guy's fired.
Yeah.
This is on the dark net.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
on the
yeah.
dark net.
But same there was growing up. I also played soccer too, and my favorite player was Steven Gerrard. So
Yeah, legend.
Yeah, he's
Unreal.
a-
I've seen an Unreal documentary on him, actually.
That's,
He never left.
that's why I chose Liverpool.
Have you ever seen him play in person?
No, I haven't, but
Oh, you got to
definitely-
get over there.
Oh, definitely on my bucket list. Yeah.
But the best athlete ever from Switzerland is obviously Federer. Have you ever run into him? Have you ever played tennis? Anything? Got anything on that?
Yeah, I like tennis. I do play with some friends during summer, and I've actually met Federer once at the U.S. Open right after my draft, and I mean, it was pretty cool. And yeah, like you said, I think he's the man. So he's really impressive. Whatever he's doing, he's just doing everything right. That's what it seems.
He's
So,
perfect. I always say
yeah.
he's like Lidstrom kind of. They
Yeah.
reminded me of each other.
They don't sweat. They just so smooth.
Yeah.
For people like myself who don't really understand, Switzerland's interesting, right? Like there's so many people who speak all these different languages, French, Italian, German, whatever. So how do you like what is the main language everyone's speaking over there? Do you know what I mean?
It's 3. Well, kind of 4, but like it's
So everyone speaks all of them.
no.
Swiss German.
Yeah, it's like Swiss German. So easy way is obviously like Switzerland borders to like Germany, France, and Italy. So when you're close to the Italy border, you speak Italian. When you're close to the French border, you speak French.
It's all based on the region.
Yeah, but I grew up like in the German part, so my mother language is Swiss German.
Okay.
But we do obviously like growing up, like you always get to interact with like different language. So I started learning French early, and Italian. Yeah,
So
Italian
you could,
but French I will get around. A
but
little
you
bit.
can converse with people in French and German, English, and not Italian. You're saying
Yeah, I can order food or a
Yeah.
beer in Italian, but that's it. But
That's all you need.
yeah, hey, it works. But
Chicken
with
parm.
French, I'll get around, and German, obviously, yes, and English by now too.
So, all right. So, you're coming up playing, you go over to Bern. It's interesting to see you ended up in Halifax, had an amazing team there, right? How did that come about, right? Like, how did you decide on going there as opposed to being a younger player in LA?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a big decision for me because I was kind of in between. I played a few pro games with Bern at that point, and they told me I was able to like bump up in the team, and they gonna give me some games and stuff. And the other option was going overseas and play in a junior league. And for me, it was always at the end, I thought if I'm not going to do it, I'm going to regret it. And
I can always go back and play in Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly. And my goal, by that point, my goal was like playing the NHL. And it was my draft year as well. And from that point, I was actually pretty clear, like, I got to try it. And Halifax had interest in me. And through my agency and everyone, I said it's a great spot to be. And Timo was there earlier. I knew Timo from like the World Juniors a bit. Texted him about it a little bit, and after that, everything worked out. And don't regret it.
Did you make it clear, maybe to other CHL teams, like, yeah, I'm only going to go to Halifax type thing? Like, because what if somebody else had drafted you?
Your
Right?
agent helped you.
Yeah,
set it up, kinda,
my agent made sure like that Halifax picked me. So
There you go.
I don't know what he said, but that's kind of what happened. Yeah.
So we all, like, I guess CHL guys, you kind of move away from home to go play. You had to freaking go a long way. What was your pretty comfy playing in your hometown and getting some pro games, your bro and everything?
Yeah,
what was that like?
That's the thing. Bern isn't even my hometown. Like when I was 15, I moved out from my hometown to play for another team, because my team I grew up playing with didn't even had like the highest junior level to play in Switzerland. That's why I switched clubs in Switzerland already. And I was living there with
So you were on the
my
move
aunt.
already.
Yeah. So when I was 15, I moved out my first time, lived with my aunt in Bern, and my brother was there too, playing there. So we were already out with 15, and with 17, I went to Halifax.
So as far
just go.
As far as like a cultural difference when you went over to Halifax, was there any getting homesick? Like, I mean, you're away from your family for the first time.
I mean, obviously you miss them at the beginning, but for me it was like the bigger step for me. Sounds weird, but the biggest step was like when I moved, like first time I moved out when I was 15.
Yeah, that's
Bern.
almost
You got
harder.
used to it.
So I got used to it kind of, and just it wasn't like an hour train ride; it was like a flight away. So Bern wasn't like too far from my hometown, but when I was in Halifax, it was obviously way further. But I kind of got used to like being away from my family and stuff. So.
Were you projected to go that high coming into that season with Halifax? Because it seems like quite a lot for you to come over and then not only get adjusted to the different size ice, maybe a little bit of a different game, and then I would imagine also more physical too.
Yeah. What do you mean, like in the draft though?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No. I mean, at the beginning of the year,
just kind of bumped you up that much.
Yeah,
right?
I think kind of all started at like after World Juniors. I
You had a good tourney.
Yeah, I had a good tournament there. It was definitely a fun tournament, and after that, yeah, the people start talking, and but for me, it was just coming over to Halifax, trying to get adjusted, like you said, to the smaller ice rink, to more physicality and stuff like that. It is different, like coming from Europe, obviously. So, but back in Halifax, I had a great coach, great teammates. They helped me a lot, actually. So it was, like I said, I don't regret it at all. It was really important for me to do that year, and it worked out, as good as it can be.
What's crazy is like it happened so quick, right? Like all of a sudden I'm going to Halifax, then I'm first overall, and then I'm in the NHL that first season. Like you probably never could have imagined 2 years prior that you'd be playing in the NHL that quick.
100% no.
Did you even go to camp that year thinking you'd make the team?
Obviously that was my goal, and I believed in myself that I can do it. But I didn't like knew 100%.
Yeah.
Like I knew I gotta go in there and like to prove myself and just try the best I can do, and but it worked out. So.
Who was the coach of the Devils at that time?
John Hines. Yeah, John Hines.
Okay.
Hines, yeah.
You guys added Jack Hughes a couple years ago. He's been a real shot in the arm. What's he like in the room? We were out with him last night. He seems like quite the character.
Yeah, I mean, if you met him, you know he is. He's Jack. I like that about him. He doesn't does acting or stuff like that. He's just Jack, and really funny guy to be around with. And obviously, throughout the years, I got a good friendship with him, and it's always fun.
Were there any texts to Brat throughout that negotiation? Like, come on, buddy, we need you back. Like, were you actually in touch with him at all to see what was going on?
Me and Brad, we came in together, right? So we both had our rookie seasons together. So I'm close with Brother too, and we always throughout the year already we always had talks, and it wasn't just like necessary right now before the signing. We always were a little bit in contact about it, and yeah, he basically made it clear to me too that he wants to stay in New Jersey, and the better now they got it done, and I obviously told him we're happy to have him. He's happy, and now yeah, we can get to work.
Did you tell him that he can't make more than you, and that's why he had to take a little bit of a hometown discount, or was it because Pasha was threatening him?
I don't know. No, I didn't. I mean, I'm happy for him. They made a deal done, and that's all that matters. So he's been always just 1 year or 2 years, and now he finally got this deal, and that's good for us.
Should we get Pasha in here to maybe ask a question, because he's probably the biggest New Jersey Devils
himself in the bathroom,
and we
too.
have to thank him because he's the one who ended up solidifying this interview right now. So Pasha, if there's anything. And was he sliding into your DMs from the early days as a Devil supporter?
No, I actually met Posh in Vancouver once, so that's kind of how we met, right?
Is he known in the locker room as like the Devils guy? Do you guys know
super
about
fan?
him?
Well, after that series now, for sure, yeah. I mean, guess you're the only guy supporting us, right?
Only guy to stick
love
up
that.
for the
Love that.
guys. These guys were all chirping, but Nico, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
shaking.
Yeah. He's like, Mr. Hischier,
Need some new pants for Pasha over
all
here.
right. So you guys are done. But following up on kind of business question about Brat, you guys have 4 Swiss players in the league between you, Siegenthaler, Schmid, and now Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
How much did that play a factor in you guys trying to convince Meyer to come over? Were you enticing him, talking about it before the trade, and also now, as we both know, he's got a big contract negotiation going on? How much are you using the Swiss influence to kind of convince him to stay there for a while?
We'll try. I mean, obviously, Siegs, and we know him from like playing World Juniors together, and even before the trade, we were talking together, and but he never really knew like where he's heading to. But we kind of knew like Jersey has interest and stuff like that, but you're just like talking, like you just go, if it happens, oh, that would be kind of cool and stuff like that. And now we got him, and he played a few games with us, playoffs, and he likes it. And I think he enjoys playing with a couple Swiss guys too. And now in the East Coast, I think it's obviously a little different, as he says. So I think he likes it, and same there. I hope to get it done, and can have him too.
Yeah, I think he's a big piece of the team moving forward. I think a lot of the fans were hard on him because the numbers weren't there in the playoffs. But if you watch the games, you'd see that he was contributing in basically every area of the ice, and just the numbers weren't there. So I think he's a big part of the core coming
100%. I mean, just if you look at our like forward group, we don't really have like a player like him. He's obviously a big guy that like, yeah, you can run somebody over too, and like scores goals, and like me, Brader, Jack, for example, we're not like the biggest, I would say. So he's definitely a type of player that we could definitely use. So
Let's not forget this clown to your left here said he'd rather have Patty Kane the deadline than Timo Meyer. Let that be known.
I've renounced my Rangers. I'm a free agent. I'm trying to come to the Devils, and
The
you won't
Devils
let me.
don't want you.
I made
You're
a
not
pitch at
welcome.
Jack Hughes last night. I think he turned me
You
down
are
too.
not welcome, Murls. You're not welcome. But one more question for you going back to the playoffs. Would you say that you guys as a young team kind of coming together, winning your first series, emotional Game 7 win against the Rangers, would you say you guys had a bit of an emotional letdown going into the Carolina series, obviously coming out pretty flat in the first 2 games?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's hard to say, to be honest, but it was a quick turnaround for us. We had Game 7, and the next day we flew right out to Carolina, and they kind of ran us over the first 2 games, and but I think, like you said, I think just the experience we had winning a Game 7, winning a series, it's already like really important for our team, and just understanding that it was a whole different series. Like Carolina played obviously a different style than the Rangers did. So understanding that, I think that's going to help us moving forward too.
Were you guys a little shell shocked going into playoffs? Like just like unexpected, like you're playing a veteran team like the Rangers. I thought you guys played horrendous in the first 2 games, no offense. But then for you guys to come out in games 3 and 4 and look like a completely different team, like what had changed? What was said?
Yeah, I think, maybe, a little nervous, maybe overexcitement too, like trying too much. Sometimes not good either. So I think we got a little bit too excited about the playoffs, and we just knew we didn't play well the first 2 games, and we tried to calm everybody down, and because we've done it like last year, pretty much a whole year. Like we've proven that we can beat good teams, and we knew like the Rangers are a good team, but we just gotta play our game to win games, and I think we started doing that when we went to MSG, and the first 2 games were just not good enough.
Going back to when you came into the league, such a young kid, like were there veterans that took you under their wing? Was there a guy in particular? Like where did you live that first year? Things like that probably made it a little easier for you coming in so young.
Yeah, I mean, well, first had to wait till they told me to get an apartment. So I was living a little bit in hotels and stuff like that, and but coming in, I great guys on the team. I was obviously that year I was playing with Halsey a lot, so was with him around a bit, and but living after I was by myself, and like I've said before too, me and Brader came in together, so we kind of got an apartment in the same building, and we kind of helped each other out. So it was good.
It's important having that guy, like a younger guy that just you can at least hang out with and stuff. That's true.
Even to that point though, like for this year, Game 7, first playoff win, like you're the captain, and you look through the lineups like what Palat, Dougie Hamilton, and Holla are like the veteran guys, but your core group of your team's fairly young. So who steps up like after, the terrible start and like it's not going good? Like when you don't know, or you don't have that experience around. You guys are kind of going through this together. It's all new for you, even being a young captain,
Yeah, it is an experience for me for sure, but I'm growing into it, and I think I'm getting better with it. I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm like the loudest guy in the locker room, but there's something need to be said. I'm not afraid to, and I think that's something I'm still learning, but I'm getting better at it.
Does it help?
Have you ever snapped? Have you ever just fucking lost it? I couldn't picture you snapping.
I know it takes a lot, yeah, but I have. I mean, obviously, through the last couple of years, when you lose a lot of games, that's it kind of sucks. So you can snap there once in a while.
Well, probably not last year. That was the single greatest turnaround season in NHL history based on points. Or at least that's what Pasha keeps telling me. So I don't know how good my facts are, but just from like going from the year prior to this year, was there like stuff being said in the group chat to like motivate you guys to step it up in training and to come in more prepared? Like what
did Ruff say too? Like what did Lindy say when he came in?
No, I mean, we just trust the process. We knew it's not going to go like, I mean, to be honest, I was a little surprised too by myself that it was like that big of a step. We did have a great year, and it felt good because I always believed in this group. Like I signed in Jersey. I wanted to be there. I knew like what kind of players we have, and going through like this losing, I think that's sometimes you need that to like taking the next step. And now even the last few years when we weren't making the playoffs, somewhere a little bit you always saw some little steps going the right direction, and obviously last year was a really big one, which obviously is more obvious to see, and now it's just about like getting another little step to the ultimate goal one day, winning the cup. So that's our goal in New Jersey, and that's what we're trying to do.
It didn't start that way for you though, Pasha, hey?
What did start that way?
You start of the year, were you chanting Fire Lindy, or were you
what that was fucking crazy.
It wasn't easy at the start though.
No,
like
it was, I mean, definitely not. But
like, here we go again.
I think Lindy handled it the best too. Like how he handled it was perfect. I mean, it's obviously we got passionate fans in Jersey, and obviously fans want to see your team win. And after a few years we had, you kind of understand it, but it's they're passionate. So and I think, like I said, Lindy just perfectly acted to it.
Was there anything? I was just gonna ask. Was there anything when you got to the States that you were just like, why do people do this all the time? Or maybe some hobbies that you ended up hopping on that you would have never expected that you hopped on living in Swiss?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just everything is bigger here. Like even food wise, everything. That's probably the first thing I noticed. Like
portions.
Yeah,
how ridiculous they are.
Yeah, if you order
that's why
something,
you start looking like Murls and RA.
In Switzerland, I would go to dinner and I'd have to get 2 entrees. Yeah. I'd get the first one, and it's so so small,
we call that.
And then it's so expensive over there.
Yeah.
So I'm spending $70 and I'm getting the littlest pasta dish. So I'd go out to eat with like the teammates, and then I'd go home and like make another like pasta dish at home because I couldn't afford more.
I agree. I mean, that's kind of the first thing I just noticed when I came over here. Just even like grocery store, the fucking onions or like just everything is bigger. Like,
have you grown up enough to where you cook for yourself?
I not a big cook, but I do cook for myself too. But obviously we go out for eating a lot and stuff like that. But I do know how to cook, and sometimes I do myself some cooking.
Nico, just jumping back to that biggest single season turnaround in NHL history. Not taking anything away from your team this year, because obviously you had an incredible season, but as a viewer, I felt that last year you guys played a lot better than your record showed, and a huge reason that you didn't perform that way was because of goaltending. I think you guys started, 7 or 8 goalies throughout the year. So how important has it been to get a guy like Vitek to come in to stabilize the goaltending, to know you can get the big saves? How much do you think that impacted that turnaround?
As a viewer.
As a viewer.
As a super
fan. No, I mean, obviously huge. I mean, if you look at good teams, every good team has a good goalies. And I think Vita came in for us and did whatever we need to ask from him. Like, he did a great job. He was playing really well for us the whole year. And I mean, goalies can win you games, and he's done that throughout the year for us. So he's been whatever we needed. So it's good for us.
Go ahead, Rory.
You got your first taste of the Battle of the Hudson, the playoffs with the Rangers. Did that kind of make you jump back a little? Just the crazy fans on both sides, in New York, going back to Newark, all those games. Did it kind of make you like, holy shit, how the intensity of it all?
It was definitely fun, 100%. We as soon as we knew we were gonna play the Rangers, there you could tell like excitement was there, because just even the regular season game against the Rangers are a little different. It's just a rivalry game, Hudson River rivalry. So it was definitely a fun series, and obviously for us the way it ended, even more fun. And so it was something I'll probably won't forget in my career. Like that first playoff series win I ever had. So,
we kind of talk about like expectations on this show a lot for younger guys and really high picks. And, last year you had 60 points, 70 games. And then this year you're a point per game player. But was it hard before a little bit? Like, cause people are like first overall, you got to light it up right away because of McDavid and Matthews. Like, did that bother you at times? Did you think about like, I got to produce more offensively, mainly because of how expectations of first overall picks immediately are, even though it's so unrealistic for a lot of players?
Yeah. I mean, definitely wasn't easy. At the point I'm 18 coming into the league and getting compared to drafts ahead of me where, like you said, McDavid, Matthews. So I'm like, oh, wow, that's a high standard. I don't think I can fill those shoes. But on the other hand, I just started to learn, like, you just follow the process, work hard, do the best you can every day. You're your own player, and just try to not listen to the outside noise and just be as best as you can be.
It's so important not listening to the outside noise. So for yourself personally, like, is there someone in your life you're leaning on a lot when things aren't going well? And like, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your agent. Like, is there somebody you're talking to a lot through things? Because it's, being a young captain, like you yourself have to get things off your mind at times.
Yeah, for sure. I would say I'm pretty close to my brother and sister. We have a really good sibling bond. So if there's anything, I know I can always go to them and
lean on them.
What about alumni? Is there any old alumni kicking around who've won cups who you've been chatting with and kind of ingest information off of?
Here in America?
Well, yeah, just
Gomez.
like the definitely
And then
not
the conversation never ended.
Kenny Danico.
Yeah.
That he was in
I mean,
concussion
he's around.
protocol.
Yeah, he's always
Danico,
around
yeah.
a lot, and you talk always with Dano a bit, but just remember I was with Andy Green, but I didn't win a cup. But still, Andy Green was the captain when I got in there, and he's still in Jersey, so I see him sometimes, and yeah, if there's like any questions, I would always would go
Yeah,
up
so you
to
would
him.
reach out to him.
Just a calming influence, eh?
Yeah, but he's great guy, and was always fun.
A little off topic, but I'm looking down your legs in front of me. What's up with the triangle tattoo on the
you
ankle?
got any
Any
more
meaning to
tattoos?
that?
Did it on vacation.
You were buckled. You were buckled.
No,
He got matching tattoos with a random girl.
no. It's actually me and my brother. We kind of did like a brother tattoo.
Okay, I
and,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Is that the only one?
Thought it
Cancun
was a
prison
great
tat.
idea. Thought it was a great
Cancun
idea,
prison
but
tat.
no, it's all good.
Speaking of tattoos, Nico, have you heard about Biz's bet about you guys going to the conference finals?
I actually haven't. No.
So
Actually,
No, you tell it, Pasha. I know.
What is it?
Yeah, I know. Go
So
ahead.
last summer, Biz and I kind of got into it on Twitter, and then out of the blue, he said, if the Devils make the conference final any of the next 2 seasons, I'll get the mascot tattooed on my ass.
Yeah. I was fucking nervous after you guys pulled off that first series win.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I like Carolina's game, but I didn't
Yeah.
think that you guys were any worse than Carolina. So thank guys you guys laid an egg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, God forbid you got a goofy tattoo.
Yeah,
huh?
I know,
guess-
exactly.
Now you gave me a little extra motivation, I guess.
Oh,
Here,
yeah,
let's
let's
go.
piss the captain off. Don't tell the boys, please.
Nate'll have it up on the board. It's their trainer, Nate. He's a beauty, hey?
Nader?
Yeah, you got a
it's
good crew of like trainers. How big is that day to day?
Frosty.
Frosty and
Frosty's the
Nader.
best. Yeah,
Just wild
great guys.
beauties, hey?
Schmitty, Frosty, yeah, Nader, Brent. They're all great guys. I mean, yeah, you know Frosty.
Yeah,
you know
Frosty's
Frosty?
great.
Yeah,
RA
he's
knows him real
I've
well
heard
too.
about this
Yeah,
guy.
he's
He's
a
like an urban
beauty.
legend.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
best.
You should
the
see
best.
this Nate, his like assistant or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just guys.
And
the
then,
guy's a
yeah, he
card.
has energy.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
yeah. So we got a really good guys. In
Who is
Jersey, yeah.
the Biz calls him the jester, like the goofball in the locker room on
It's
the
got to be
Devils?
Miles Wood, no?
He's kind of quiet, isn't
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't say too much.
he? We dust him in a
Do
sandbagger.
you
I think I don't know. I think Bash and McLeod are definitely a funny couple together. When they've been playing in Mississauga together and now in Jersey. Got separate a little bit with when Bastion went to Seattle, but we picked him up from waivers again. So it was, if you're around them, it's always a good time.
That's
Well, you
the
got
crew.
such a young locker room. I would imagine like every day is just different stories flying around. Like it would kind of have maybe more of an AHL locker room feel, which is you talk to Owen Power
Hang out
earlier.
a lot together, probably, right?
Just guys willing to stick around. Oh, that's my alarm. I got to go do the NHL TNT.
Oh, not a big deal.
award. Not a big deal. But it was like Buffalo. So many young guys, so they're willing to stay on the ice after practice, and it's maybe a little bit more easier to gel when you have such a young group.
It is, and I mean, we have a great locker room. It's fun coming in, almost going in with a smile in the locker room, and like you said, yeah, everybody has to say something. Funny story there, and it's and I've experienced both because when I came in the league first, it was still a great locker room, but it was just different. I was really young, and we had like older guys with like families and stuff. So where I live in like Jersey City, Hoboken, and we're like maybe 3 guys at that point, and now it's like pretty much the whole team.
Just took over the block.
That-
No wonder Grinelli
just
moved there.
switched.
Don't
Yeah.
say
Now
where
he's
you
your
live.
neighbor.
You don't want Pasha showing up at your door.
Bosch's Airbnb right now.
I'm
why I said
not gonna
2
say my
cities.
address.
Hey, I gotta ask
Yeah.
you. Speaking of your young group, maybe you guys answered this question in the media during it. What was up with like the no sellies in the playoffs? Like I saw Dougie Hamilton was just like staring in the stands. Like we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, his remote control broke.
Yeah, he was just staring, and then
It was
like
a
someone scored later and did
Hughes.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like doing the Dougie.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't even a thing. It just
no, it wasn't a thing. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Never asked them why they sell it like this. Wasn't a thing
Just
for
went
us.
nuts.
Just, I don't know.
Staring
Their
down the
natural
scumbag
reaction, I
Rangers
guess. I don't know. Ice cold.
You've
Ice
had
cold.
Lindy for 3 years now. I mean, he's been around the game forever, but he seems like kind of young at heart. He kind of makes you guys have fun out there, it looks like.
Oh yeah. I mean, Lindy's been always really fair to us, and obviously with his experience, can teach us a lot. And it's been we have a good time with him, and he's working with the players well together, and he's been great with us.
I like asking guys sometimes in terms of just like continuing to improve. Like personally, is there something this summer or within your game you're like, I just want to get a little better at that? Like, is there anything in your mind?
No, I usually, like I said earlier too, I usually just try to like work on my things I always done.
Okay.
I like to
Basics. That's
yeah,
smart.
exactly. Not obviously try to focus on some stuff a little bit more from here and then, but I want to do consistently everything that I've always been doing, and that's how I feel the best.
And it's
after
already got
summer.
you here. So
Can you imagine
Yeah.
if he's got like a super long stick now and he's trying to do like Bedard wristers all summer?
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work for me, But yeah, maybe that would be a thing I'm trying, and I've been trying to work on the last few summers as well, like my shooting. So
will you be on the ice? We asked the current players now. It's so different. Will you be on the ice a lot during the summer? Or do you put the skates away for a bit?
definitely put them away for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. I need to put my hockey bag a little bit away after a long season, but I'll start usually maybe like I'm not going to the ice for like maybe a month or so, month and a half, and then start slowly skating again. And by August, like September, I obviously skate
Will you
a lot.
skate with that pro team like in your town? Do they let you do that?
Yeah,
Get on
I'm
there?
actually, that's what I'm doing in Bern. I'm skating in Bern, and in August I can sometimes join their like practice and like basically their training camp because they're starting earlier. And but I also maybe sometimes go to Zurich where like Siegenthaler, Pius Sutter, like couple Malgin, like all these guys are skating in Zurich.
What's best city to go
Neo.
maybe party in Switzerland? I mean, I'm guessing Zurich, but isn't Zug pretty good? Bern, what's the best?
Bern is pretty chill. If you wanna have a good party, I think Zurich is definitely the spot to go to. But there's Geneva, I heard is
Good golf
too.
over there? A lot of golf?
Lausanne is good too. A lot of golf.
Is there golf big over in Switzerland or no?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
A lot of nice courses, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of Swiss, when we played World Championships there, I think Rick Nash was like wildly popular. He went there. Did you go watch any of those guys?
I think Joe Thornton was there as well. He met a Swiss guy.
His wife is
But
Swiss.
Did
yeah.
you go to any of those like when you were a young guy? Just really, really, really young.
Well, that
You hear-
Locko year, he wouldn't have been that young, right?
No, some of those guys went over there and they were like heroes over there a little bit. So did you go to watch any of those guys? And
I've seen games when Patrick Kane and Tyler Sagan, they were like in Beale, where like my brother plays now. So I've seen. I remember like in the lockout when a bunch of NHL players came over, and if Tavares was in Bern. So I remember I was watching a game with those players on the team, which obviously when I was young was pretty cool for me. So
He actually just went to Magnitogorsk to watch Datsuk instead of watching. I'm going to Russia. Well, anyone got anything else for this guy?
I was going to say Switzerland's gotten much better on the international stage the last few years. And by the way, Roman Josi was the first Swiss player we had a few years back. Remember?
Yes, we did.
Man Rocket.
So who are players like you look up to? Because basically, some of the first Swiss players were goalies. Like you had Abisha, Jonas Hiller. Who's the third one there? Gerber. Like, so who are the guys you looked up to as a kid?
Swiss players.
Yes.
Obviously for me, like as a forward, Nino.
Okay,
was definitely a guy I was always looking up to, and even like his path too. He went through Portland, and then got Islanders. I think got drafted to the Islanders. So Nino was always a guy I was looking up to. But obviously, growing up, you knew Josi, Mark Streit, like these kind of guys that.
Mark Streit was a good player.
Yeah,
He
paved the way for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. He did. So. You knew these guys, but I always followed everyone. But for me, it was more like Nino because of like forward position. So
Is there a
Matt
player who never played in the NHL but is like a legend in Swiss hockey from who is the guy?
Ombil. Yeah.
What years
Andres
is this? Like 90s?
Oh, now like
No,
might
he's
still be
still
playing.
No shit.
So he just lights up the Swiss
Yeah,
league.
Yeah,
I played against
he's,
him over there. I think he was in Zurich when I played against him.
Yeah, he's He actually tried to
I got
come
all
over a
Europe.
little
I got
bit.
all Europe on it.
Nice.
He's our correspondent,
I like that.
Euro
You know?
correspondent.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
Bet on all this. Well, I tell the story. You gotta back me up on this. I try to tell these guys when I played in Switzerland, the guys are gambling on all the games. Not your own game, but instead of going into intermission, like going into the locker room, the guys are sitting on the bench looking at the out of town scoreboard.
Murls is in the
Could be
4th
true.
division. though.
Yeah, the Swiss guys are nuts.
What's your thoughts on how the leading scorer has to wear a gold helmet in the Swiss league? Just a target on his back.
And the jersey.
Oh, it's different jersey,
Jersey
too?
too.
Oh my God, jersey now?
Jersey and helmet, like flame helmet, and flame jersey.
Like you're on fire.
Yeah, I think the golden is, I think it's in Finland or Sweden,
Oh, okay.
and in Switzerland it's like flames. So
Think the NHL should bring that?
no, I think we're good how it is. But it's, I don't know. You grew up like this, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, it was first weird when it wasn't, right? So it's just, yeah.
It was
like
normal for
everything
you.
else, you just get used to
It's
it.
probably weird when you got over here and the fans weren't standing up the whole game chanting too.
That's
right?
different too, for sure. Like the fan culture in Europe than here. Obviously, you got great fans here too, and playoffs is amazing too.
Yeah.
But in
I think it has to do
Switzerland-
with the portions. They're a little bit lazy, or they just can't get on their seats.
Cheesecake Factory to a game, you're asleep, Frank the Tank style. Do you know who Frank the Tank is? Yeah, the Tank.
He's Jersey fan too.
You guys should put him in net. You guys been fucking letting a goal.
Vladikov.
Dude, Swiss fans are nuts. I'm telling you, I was in Lugano and we couldn't leave the rink because we were losing so much. The fans were outside. They wouldn't let us leave the rink. Like, no, you guys got to stay in here. I stayed in there for 3 hours. They brought
train?
No, we couldn't leave. They brought in beer. They brought in pizza because the fans were going nuts. They wanted to
They wanted you guys dead.
dead. Like the,
I
the
thought they
fans are
wanted you
nuts.
back on the ice.
They
against
riot. Like the
different, yeah.
police come in riot gear and stuff. They're nuts over there.
Well, they probably had money on it, just like you guys.
Yeah,
Murls.
exactly.
No, it's definitely different. They're like almost like soccer fans. Like they're chanting, they have their chants, and they have their, in every arena, their away team has their like own section where the away fans are, and they're chanting and singing
And for safety
Flying
purposes.
Fireworks going off.
exactly.
They're
Yeah,
out of control.
You a skier? Do you ski over there in Swiss?
I used to a lot. Yeah, where I grew up right in the mountains in
Oh,
Switzerland,
nice.
like close to Zermatt. So I snowboard though, but
Okay,
I
alright.
used to be a lot on the snowboard. Yeah.
Zermatt. This could be a little nugget for you guys. That's the mountain that's on the Toblerone candy, right?
You know
Wow.
it.
Little fact
Murls.
for you listeners
Murls,
out there.
Fact,
unbelievable.
That's
stat.
what
The
Discovery
Swiss is
Channel.
it's just coming back.
Stat guy.
I'm impressed.
Wow.
Attaboy, man.
Not a lot of people
I'm
know
trying to
that.
get on the Devils bandwagon. I'm trying to get in.
Trying to get a PTO. He'll be playing for their ECHL team in no time.
Yeah.
Be down in Utica with Rob Esch.
Well, boys, I got to get going. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys got any more, but I just want to say thank you before
Yeah,
I take
thank you
off.
very
and best
much.
of luck,
Thanks so
man.
much,
Thank you. I
Hopefully
appreciate
win
it.
I got
something tonight.
Singsy texting me a question right now.
Jesus Christ.
Uh-oh.
He's in
I
on
told
his
him when
Another
basement.
Devil super
Yeah,
fan
super
from our
fan.
Game
It's
Notes
Pasha,
Daily.
Singsy, and Frank the Tank. On behalf of them, they're big fans. So thank you, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
coming on, Nico.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, guys, before we go any further, it's time to talk to you about our exclusive ticketing partner, Game Time. Created by fans for fans, Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. Logan Cooley is coming to Mullet Arena in no time, and there is no better place to get Coyotes tickets than Game Time. It's all possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. They'll even credit you 110% of the seat price if you can find a better deal elsewhere. You can also get limited time discounts with exclusive flash deals. The purchase process takes just 2 taps and 10 seconds, and once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone, no printed needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with friends via text so you can get into the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. Download the Game Time app or go to gametime.co, enter your email and redeem code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Huge thanks to Nico Hischier for jumping on us. Devils captain. Can't wait to see what they do next year after what they did last year. But moving right along, across the river, the New York Rangers last year, 107 points, third in the Metro, 9th out of 32 teams. And they lost to the Devils 4-3 in that epic first-round battle. They're 13-1 to win this cup this year. They got some new faces, too. Peter Laviolette behind the bench this year. They brought in Blake Wheeler, Nick Bonino, Tyler Pitlick, and Eric Gustafson. They didn't keep Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko, Nico Mikola, Yaroslav Halak, Tyler Mott, Libor Hajek, Ryan Carpenter, or Wyatt Kalnick. A little bit of turnover with the Rangers. They're over by the cap a little bit right now, but we still got a ways to go before that matters. Pretty much the same team as last year. Chris Drury added some veteran depth, but Whit, we'll go to you first with the Rangers. What are you thinking from them this year, buddy?
I don't know what to expect. I really was looking at last year like a true Stanley Cup contender. The main thing about all of this is Igor Shesterkin. It's actually incredible how hot he can get. He goes on these runs where he's unbeatable. He's pretty much not their entire team, but without him, you don't even consider the Rangers as a playoff favorite or a top team in the league. It's like the team relies on him so much. I guess not even to the extent of over on Long Island in terms of their goaltender, but it's still similar with another Russian in New York City. And when he's going, this team's just that hard to beat, okay? My biggest thing looking at the Rangers this year is Kakko and Lafreniere. And I know it sounds crazy, but when you have these young guns that are high draft picks, they have to light it up. They have to become good. It's this cap world where you pretty much know, I don't know, maybe you guys disagree. You know what you're getting out of Adam Fox this year. You pretty much know what's Kreider's going to bring. You could pencil Kreider in for 30 to 40, right? You could pencil Adam Fox in for like 65 to 80 points. You can pencil Panarin in for 75 to 90 points. It's all these guys that you know what you're going to get, including Shesterkin and his play. The question is the depth positions at forward and these two young guys. If they make an enormous step and they can hop into that category of being 20 to 30 goal guys, all of a sudden you're looking at this team completely different. They got weapons on different lines. And it's funny, I don't even bring up Hedl. I think Hedel's going to continue to step up. He showed enough to me last year where I expect even more. It's Kakko and Lafreniere that are the question marks. And if you look at the team and you think of those guys having subpar seasons and not taking that next step in their career, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they don't do that much. If they're a middle of the pack, yeah, I'm going to pick them to make the playoffs, but I wouldn't consider them Stanley Cup contenders unless those two guys make huge steps up and start lighting it up and producing offensively. It's pretty simple to me. I like their D. I mean, Fox is so good. Just the way he slides around the ice and makes it look so simple while not being the fastest skater. It's incredible to watch. But that's my main storyline. Actually, I should read what Avery said to me. He talked about Shesterkin first. Talked about their core. I mean, I didn't even say Zibanejad. He looks at the core as Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, Trocheck, Fox. He talks about seeing Keandre Miller paired with Fox in training camp. Right? That could even elevate Keandre Miller even more. I love that kid's game. He skates like the wind. That's another guy that I think you can pencil in and know what you're going to get if you're Peter Laviolette. So a lot of great things on this team, a lot of things for Rangers fans to look forward to, but also some question marks with some younger players that every successful team has guys step up. And if those two can't do it, younger guys, I mean, if those two can't do it, this is not nearly the same type of team that they could be if they had a couple of young studs that they drafted that high.
Well said, Whit. Wow, well said.
And I feel bad. I feel bad putting it on two guys, but I mean, when they're picked that high, that's just kind of what comes with it. Do you know what I mean by that?
Oh, I know what you mean. And I'm going to go the other way. You got to make them playoffs. I don't.
Really?
I have them missing playoffs this year. I think Shesterkin's sick and tired of saving their fucking bacon. I think they're all frauds. I don't like their depth at all. No offense to those two guys you just mentioned and throw Hedl in the mix. So the Treyway, their fan base are frauds. Their team are frauds. Not even the nice guy, Peter Laviolette, who gave our boy here, Murls, a one-way ticket to the ECHL. Not even he can save their bacon. They're done. They're not going to recover. They're not going to recover from being up 2 games last year to the Devils and then fucking taking a huge deuce at MSG and squandering it all away. They're frauds. The Metro's too strong. Fuck the Fugazis. No playoffs for you. And then Dolan's going to have a meltdown. Exactly how I want the season to end. That's all I got for that.
I think the
breakdown.
coaching staff is going to make a big difference.
Yeah,
Laviolette's proven that guy's a winner.
No.
Can't argue it, okay? He's got Michael Pekka helping out. He's got Phil Housley,
Doesn't
Dan
matter.
Muse, a local
They're going to be
Boston
wanting to
guy.
put the gear on by the end of the year. That's how bad it's going to be.
Wow.
No playoffs in the Metro.
Are you like trolling right now? Like,
No.
I'm not saying you're trolling by saying no playoffs, but like, you think they're going to be brutal?
I don't think they're going to make playoffs. I'll tell you why. I
With
think
that
that
fucking goalie, dude. And
I
hold
think-
on. If I tell you he stays healthy all season, which is a question mark for Shesterkin, if a Shesterkin is playing healthy, doesn't miss games for injuries, you have him missing playoffs.
I have other teams making playoffs.
Oh, you're fucking nuts. I just
Murls.
think with a goalie like that, he's too good.
Yeah.
What do you got for the Rags,
Might be
Murls?
time for a Rangers Cup future after hearing that. Last time Biz had a team out, the Bruins set the record, right?
Oh, yeah. And then they got
Yeah.
bounced in the first round.
Hey.
You want to talk about bad takes? RA didn't even have Vegas making the fucking playoffs last year. Let's talk
I
about
didn't even
that.
know who scored the game winner for the Panthers
Exactly.
that night.
Exactly. You want to shit on me, Merles? Take a look around.
Let's
You
turn
have
over to
Dar-
RA and fuck him up instead.
You have a
Ricochet.
You said a team was going to miss the playoffs that broke the all-time record for points.
And then
We
they got
can't-
bounced. And
It
then they got
doesn't matter.
bounced
That
in the
had
first
nothing
round.
to do with it.
Okay, you think that that's worse than saying a team's not going to make playoffs and then goes on to win the Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
Enough with your guys' nonsense. You can
Well,
bag lick the,
if they
bag lick
hadn't
the
broken
Rangers
the
on your
record,
own time.
if they had
Merles,
117 points in this amazing season, but they broke the all-time record.
you can bag lick the Rangers on your own time. Merles, what do you think
Yeah,
about the
bag
Rangers?
licking.
Okay, I'm kind of off the Rangers this year. I got him ranked 9th overall in the whole league, and I got him getting 3rd in the division, getting into the playoffs. I love Keandre Miller, who you just talked about. I love the pickup. They picked up Quickie. They picked up Bonino, a couple local guys, a couple Avon Old Farms guys that know how to win cups. Get them in there, see if they can get them over the top. But it's not like the last couple of years where I'm really excited to be a Ranger fan.
But you have him in the playoffs, Merles,
Yep.
Witt as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, G, what do you have on Rangers playoffs or what?
I have them in the playoffs. I think they get in as a wild card team.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Wheeler's going to have a really good year, man. He made all his dough. He's still putting points up at 37 years old. And that D, man, that's one of the best top fours in the league. So yeah, they're definitely getting back in the playoffs. So see what happens there, Biz.
I'll
I
tell
might
you
make a
right
side
now,
bet
though,
with you.
I have the standings up. I don't know who I'm going to have missing in this conference. This is tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Fucking Shesterkin, man. He was unreal in that series versus the Devils. He went 3-4, 196 goals against, 931 save percentage, man. He did his job. What do you think of Panarin's shaved melon there, Biz? Did you see that? Took all that.
He's got the
fucking salad
RA
off?
chop. I think it's nice. I think summertime coming in, shed a few pounds off, especially during training camp. You got the fitness testing coming in, and it's nice. I shaved my head the one summer after doing the Peter Mansbys, and it's nice, man. It cools you down. You sleep a lot better. So overall, aesthetically, it doesn't look the best on him because I think he looks good when he's got that salad flowing. I can understand why he did it.
Yeah, they asked Shesterkin what he thought of it. He said, "I cried." Kind of a funny quote from the Russian goaltender. All right, next up, a team you guys are very familiar with, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Last season, 91 points, 5th in the Metro, 19. A stunner.
Whoa!
The arm dog out of nowhere.
The new color commenter.
Yes.
The arm dog.
Color commenter.
Whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, I love it,
I'm
boys.
having a tough show.
Great seeing you, boys. Great seeing you. Yeah, got a couple things on the plate this year. I'm back in the show, boys. Back on the old bird. Flying first class, 5-star hotels, filet mignon. Let's go.
The old
You don't
fart
even have to
sniffers.
play.
So, for those of you who don't know what you're talking about, can you explain what's going on with your job with the Penguins this year?
Yeah, so there was a big shakeup here with our regional rights of AT&T Sportsnet. It'll now be called Sportsnet Pittsburgh, as Nesson, who is ran by the Fenway Sports Group, came in and took it over. So it's all taken over pretty much in-house by the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've made some changes to the TV side. A lot of people getting switched around all over the place, and the Penguins have announced some people. Josh Getzoff will be the new play-by-play man on TV. And myself, Phil Bork, and Mike Rupp were announced as rotating color commenters for the Penguins this season, as well as doing a lot of stuff for in studio as well. So on the desk, doing intermissions.
How many games are you
post-game.
going to be doing, Army?
I'm not sure yet. I think we'll be up around maybe half once it's all said and done, and once it's put in there. So it's
So
kind
they
of
just switched. They switched the radio play-by-play and mirrors from TV, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's what they did. Yeah, and if you remember Whit back in the day, and Murls, you'll remember this too. You were there. You guys were up and around at that time when Staggy and I think Mike Lang made like a switcheroo as well from TV to radio, radio to TV. So Mike Lang could then work inside the Penguins orb as their radio guy, doing every single game, including all the playoffs. Because Biz, as you know, of course, that's when you get hot in the playoffs, baby, on TNT and make that big playoff run. And the regional guys are done after the first round. So Mike Lang's
Biz
calls.
had some big runs for the Coyotes in the playoffs. As the radio guy.
We went to the conference finals. How deep have you gone?
I went to the Cup final, I'm talking about when you were a broadcaster, not when you were a player being the DJ. But good call.
Hey, do you
So
get to
exciting
pick-
times, boys. Exciting.
Do you get to pick what road trips you go on, or is that just delivered to you?
I would like to try to lean on them a little bit because, like, if they're going out west, like Western Canada, where I'm from, I would like to get out there. That'd be kind of cool. So we'll see where the chips fall and where I get to go. It wouldn't be bad also to do the California swing. I don't know if I have my choice on any of that. So a little bit of sun or a little bit of snow kind of in my neighborhood, but we'll see how it works out here with the new crew.
Are you gonna have to put the Just for Men's hair dye in Crosby's hair?
Oh, do you see the gray stripes on him?
Ooh, buddy. Ooh, he's starting to look old. He's starting to turn.
Yeah, he looks good, but yeah, the gray is sneaking in on some of the boys. Yeah, there's no question. I think they posted a picture maybe of him like doing a modeling shot at NHL Media Day when I was there, and I saw
Salt
it on
and pepper.
yeah, he had the salt and pepper going big
got the
time. So
George.
I got to give him my hair dye routine there to just
Please
for
don't.
men or whatever it is.
Please
just
don't.
fix it. Well,
Get the shoe polish in there.
Arm Dog, give us the vibe. First few days of camp out in Pittsburgh. I mean, the Carlson deal, Riley Smith coming over. The first year Sid didn't make the playoffs.
What does Dubas's nuts taste like?
I saw him today. They had
Biz, you know from the last fucking
Shut
3
the
years.
fuck up. I ain't
tell me.
Team Dubas no
you
more.
tell me.
I ain't Dubas.
Dubas and the boys were up in the Eagles perch watching camp today. I was over there this morning and watching some of the guys. It looked pretty good, boys. I'm not going to lie. And I think, Mike Sullivan said this is probably the most competitive camp he's had since he's maybe been there. I think their team has kind of been picked for, several years. The cupboards have been thin, and, Dubas came in and did what he did in Toronto last year too, and just started, grabbing guys. They got a bunch of
on him.
They got a bunch of guys on PTO, which I think are quality guys, which makes it, a little bit more competitive. And then, signing guys to come in and, trade for guys and pick guys up. So, I don't know if his work is done even yet. We'll see. Cause I think, when you look at the depths of the Penguins, boys, that's where the damage was really done. Like, there's no question the top 6 guys had pretty good years. Last year,
Their bottom 6 were pathetic. They had no heart. They
there was
wouldn't
nothing
mix
there.
it up. You had Sidney Crosby going after guys to mix it up to get them involved in games.
They were the muscle. Sid and Gino and Tanger were the muscle of this team, and it just became vanilla, didn't it? It just was like a vanilla team to kind of watch. So I think they've kind of revived that a little bit. Obviously, Carlson is like a huge boost, I think, to everybody when you get a guy of that caliber. But bringing in like Eller, they got Hinestroza, they've got Achari. They added
Nieto's fast.
Nieto
Nieto can move.
Yeah, and then they've also, on top of that, because of those like foot soldier guys, you've now like upped your penalty kill too. So I think with the moves that they've done as well, they've hit on making your depth better, and in doing so, and getting the big fish in Carlson, you've helped also a couple categories, your special teams, your PK and your power play, who were both middle of the pack last year. If I look at their team, I'm thinking that's got to improve single-handedly on its own with a lot of the guys that they got coming in and in the lineup. And, who knows where that puts them at the end of the year, but I think it puts them in the playoffs.
I think the one and most devastating loss for the Golden Knights was losing Riley Smith.
Yeah.
But they pick up him, and that's a type of guy that they needed to add to that lineup. Like, we use the term Swiss Army knife a lot, but he's a guy he's as reliable as they get. up and
Buddy,
down that
I
wing.
saw him schnizzle a little boom, boom from Gino in front of the net today at camp. Just a bang, bang, one-touch drive in the net. Like, that's the kind of guy he is, right? He gets the pucks. He hangs on to pucks. He gets to the front of the net. He's a high hockey IQ guy too. Like, he can make plays and get to spots, but he has like that grit too to his game that he can play kind of, a robust kind of style, which allows him to be very versatile, I think, too, with his game. So massive pickup. Look, they lose Zucker, who I thought had a pretty good year last year, moved on from him and went and got Riley Smith, who I think is, the kind of guy you need. He's got decent size, won the cup, and watch him today with Gino, and they look pretty darn good together in a scrimmage.
Arm Dog, in looking at the roster, right? Like I think it's much improved. I think Lars Eller playing well. We've seen some struggles the past few years out of him. But then you also think back to when the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, he was outrageous. So I don't know what they're going to get out of him. That's a big kind of third line center role that if he has a good year can make a big difference. But with Gensel, when are they thinking he can be back? Like, how long are they going to have to be without him?
Well, by the sounds, he's skating already. I think Mike Sullivan said that yesterday at camp. He's skating. Most of the guys, there's some guys banged up a little bit right now, day to day, I guess, that are kind of just like little injuries. So he's a little bit more wait and see with his, just due to the fact. So what's the timing on that? I have no clue. Like, some are saying a week into the season. Does it last a couple weeks into the season till they get him back? No question. Whit, he's like probably the most non-talked about probably superstar player in the league. Like, the way he produces, the way he scores. Star. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. He's a star. No question. And an all-star. But you need that guy on the top line with
now
Crosby.
My worry is,
you need that guy.
As Biz dogged the third and fourth line last year, rightfully so. No pushback. Achari, 100%. You bring him in, sandpaper, tough.
Yep.
But then you look, I'm looking at the lines here. Like, Jeff Carter's on the third line.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him.
Matt Nieto, Rem Pitt. Like, it's not like they kind of, in terms of sandpaper, they only really have Achari down there. It's still going to be not the grittiest, grindiest, Vegas type fourth and third line. That's the worry.
And it seemed like the speed on Carter is declining quite a bit. So is that a reason why they ended up moving him to the wing? Or
yeah, I think you can put him on wing. I think they did that a little bit last year, and I think just for that, just lugging up the middle for that many games, and I think he's a good fit at the wing. I think he can get up and down the wing as a big body guy, but he's also good on faceoffs, and they've got him killing some penalties too, so he can mix in there. But I think, looking at this, I think if Eller can, like you said, some tough years in Wash lately, but if Eller can bounce back in that third line position, I think that's where he'll slot. Probably with Drew O'Connor, who might get a good look, another big body guy that plays pretty good straight line hockey and can be tough to play against. They haven't had in Pittsburgh, guys, and as you know, watching them, they're like a opportunistic, quick strike, kind of offensive, defense to forward, straight up and get going and attack type of team. They haven't had like guys that can, wear you down, like hang on to pucks in the offensive zone, cycle, eat up their, the opponent's defensemen down there and wear them down a bit. I think Eller and O'Connor and some of these guys that they brought in have the ability to play that kind of game, which I don't think they've had through their lineup for a while. And it kind of just leaves games kind of, floundering. It's just floundering. It's been like, you put out the big boys, they get a couple chances, and then it's, these other guys that didn't really do anything. They didn't really provide like an identity on their line, where I think they've got more guys now. I'm not saying they're going to go and like punch your lights out, but I think they've got guys that play physical enough and a style of game enough that's a little bit more abrasive down in the bottom six.
Army, is there anybody from like the minors or from the draft? Do they have any sort of prospects, like a guy who's going to jump on and help this team that we haven't heard about?
Yeah, Chaco.
Chaco. Yeah, the bowling alley prospects will be ripping it up. Yeah, I don't know. They don't have that many guys, honestly. There is a guy that they brought in with, him. What's his name? Defenseman, Ryan Shea. He's a guy that they brought in. I think is he from your neck of the woods too?
Did a great job the past few years playing for Dallas's AHL team. Never got a chance. Local kid, great guy. I would love to see him get an opportunity. I really would. Hopefully Mike Sullivan gives him a little bit of an extra look being a Boston guy. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you never know. But he can play, that kid.
Yeah, I saw him there today. He looked pretty slick. Like, he just looks poised. He looks like
there's only 24, 24.
I think he's 26.
Is he? Good call, Whit. Stay hot.
I think he's 26, and I know he's coming over from the Dallas system, and I believe played behind, down there, Harley. Did they have Harley down there for a while? So he wasn't getting like primo minutes, but I think he's a guy that played fairly well in the American League, and no one's really talking about him a little bit, but I think he came in on 1 year, one way, boys. And where's he going to slide? Like, what's that bottom pairing defense going to look like when you've got, Graves, Letang, you got Pettersson, Carlson, and then P.O. Joseph and Chad Ruhwedel. But then you've got all these guys that are still there too, like Ty Smith, Mark Friedman. There's quite a bit of a logjam in there. Will Butcher's here, I think, here as well. So
at least that's a competition thing for those final two spots where you're not just like stuck with six guys. You got nothing else. At least they have guys, if they're not playing well, say Joseph and Ruhwedel aren't doing the job, they got some options at least this year.
Yeah, they've got options. They've got some depth. And I think that was just manufactured too. Because like you said, Whit, like who's coming up? Who's going to play? I know Nylander came up a little bit last year for handful of games and provided a little bit. But, when you go and look at what they actually needed, they needed depth.
He's
guys.
A Kapanen 2.0.
Yeah, he's a speedster. He's a skill guy. But yeah,
puppy shit.
Yeah, he played well last year when he was up, though, when given the opportunity. He really did.
How about Letang? Grinnell says he's washed up. What is he, a Costco? What'd you call him? A Costco brand?
Walmart.
Walmart.
I said he's a Walmart
did you
brand
say that?
I said he's a Walmart brand Erik Karlsson, and I don't think it's the
3
craziest
cups.
statement in the
Could
world.
you imagine getting called a Walmart
I think they're
brand
different.
anything?
Yeah, I think they're different. I think they're really different. Like, I don't know how it's going to be because I think we saw Petrie come in, right? And there was so much ice time to be shared between those two, or so little. I think it kind of affected Tanger's game a little bit, just because he's used to, getting 25 minutes a night, where he had to kind of, they had to feel that one out a little bit, where I think these guys are such, like, I think Tanger plays really hard minutes. Like he battles out there. And if you can lend Karlsson obviously to those offensive moments, I think you'll get even more out of Tanger if they can manage that correctly. Obviously that'll be a tough one to manage those minutes and kind of how those guys are deployed. You have to think 101 point Erik Karlsson, who was like literally playing beer league today at camp. It looked hilarious, just how simple he hangs on to pucks, and he does stuff that like most guys normally wouldn't even try.
Did he have a chew in?
I didn't notice that.
Or a
he
Zin?
didn't have a lip pillow rolling,
Yeah,
but
the old Zinski.
he did.
He's above Zins, dude.
He was rolling
right
out
for the
there.
diesel?
He has like ice in his veins, boys. Hey, like
He goes right for the coal. Right for the coal in his lip.
He should make the power play. If the power play is not top 5 in the league, then they might not make playoffs, because you got to think that they're going to be like living on their power play.
Yeah.
I think
they were 14th. They were 14th in the league last
going to
year.
be lights out this year. He's got to have a year this year.
You got to make it. You got to make it.
Hey, as much as Dubas is a turncoat, as much as he's in my shit house, he did a lot of good jobs with the moves and bringing over some guys to fill in some holes this offseason. And I think with Jari having a bounce back year, these guys, you don't think Sid's going to have these guys motivated? Why? Look how stressed out he was in the offseason. He fucking half his hair went gray. He's ready to turn this thing around. He felt he's not missing playoffs back-to-back years. That ain't happening on his watch. I got the Pittsburgh Penguins making playoffs.
Yeah.
You already said they're in. Murls, what do you got on the Pens? In or not?
Yeah, I got Pittsburgh in. I got them on the 4th spot in the Metro wild card, 14th overall. Hot take: if things are not good first 2 months, the coach is going to be gone. I can see that happening. This is it. They're all in. That's a hot take. You heard it here first.
What do you think of that, Army?
Well, I just think that for me, I think with the people they brought in and the competitiveness of this camp, like, you know, when you come in and it's just like the team's picked and, you know, no one's fighting for anything and there's nothing on the line. Like, I just think this is a different feel to start the year. You got a new GM, the new staff is hired like on the backside of, you know, analytics team and all this stuff that Dubas is building out here too as well. It's just, I think there's just like a different vibe right now for everyone. And, you know, I heard that. I think I might have saw something like a hot seat thing or something, Murls, to your point. I'd seen something about that. But I do think it's all in. I do think obviously it's all in. And we were talking a few years ago, last dance. So for these guys, I think it's, you know, important for them to get off to a really good start and, you know, build that mojo off of what they're able to do. But I don't know if I can see that, Murls. I don't know. Like Sully's kind of,
I think new owner, new GM.
Yeah.
We just talked. There's no prospects. If you're just bought this team, you're like, oh my God, like we have to win this year. And it's worked in the past for them.
If he gets fired,
you're talking like you get paid by the team.
What should they? Well, I just can't see it. I mean, the guy's a pretty good coach. Like what?
Another team would probably fire their coach the next day if he got fired to hire him. So I actually don't disagree with Murls because of the new GM and kind of always wants his own guy. If they get off to a slow start, you never know. I got him making playoffs. When Ray Sherrill gave me that contract back in the day, Buffet, and I was ever told there'd be a podcast that I'm a part of, I would say I'd have to forever take them to make the playoffs. I'm not super confident because I do think there's a lot of question marks there. One of them being Jari being able to stay healthy, but I got him getting in. And
that's the big topic.
Yeah, because he every year he's hurt, but when he plays, he's great. So depending on his health, I got him making it. I don't know if they'll get a top 3 spot in that division, but I do have him getting in.
I think they're the biggest wild card team, obviously, in the division. Like we know, like if you want to look at division top to bottom, like this is the Canes kind of, you know, I think it's
they've run
seems
shit.
like it's just their division. Like they've been doing it for so long. Like they're at that point as well. We know what the Devils are looking like and where they're trending. They're right there. You go to the next tier. Where's it? The Rangers, and then after that, what do you got? It's going to be the Penguins.
I feel like the division is the Devils and Carolina, and then after that, you got like Rangers, Pittsburgh, sort of Islanders, and then obviously Columbus and Philly
and Wash.
I got
Wash is there.
I got Wash making playoffs this year, boys.
You do?
What are you talking about? Why not? They had $40 million on the IR to start the year. They had no John Carlson most of the time, which power play's what feeds them. They got Kemper, who have an off year where it was his 3rd team in 3 years. I think he's having a bounce back.
Yeah, you
year.
got your number 1 center who's been asking to get traded for like 2 years now.
Doesn't matter. Just give him a bag of cocaine.
Biz
He'll be good to go.
Biz is talking like a guy
special.
that's getting paid by the Caps.
I ain't. They're chasing the goal record, but I think that they're going to have a bounce back year, boys. RA, what do you think about my comments?
As far as the playoffs, we just talked about 17
you got
different
Pittsburgh
things.
getting in, yes or no?
No,
right.
I don't have Pittsburgh getting in. No.
Wow.
They're the oldest team in the league. 31.1 is the oldest average age. That's Pittsburgh. Last year was the first time since Sid's rookie year they were in the playoffs. I think that's going to happen 2 years in a row. I just think they're a little bit older, a little bit slower, and I don't see them getting in. I know their fans hate me. They'll probably hate me a little bit more. We got to get our producers take. G, what do you have for the Penguins going on here?
Playoff team, not a cup team. Pretty simple. They just don't have the makings. And I agree with everything Murls said.
All right. Arm Dog, we appreciate this in-depth analysis by you. I can't wait. Now every time the Penguins are on and you're working, I'm going to tune into their feed and look forward to seeing you, buddy.
Hit me up. Text me when I'm working. I love it. I love hearing from the boys. And I stopped by practice today, boys, or camp, whatever you want to call it. And then I wheeled over to the USHL Fall Fest that's on right now here in Pittsburgh, and I had to work the clock for the Green Bay Gamblers against the Sioux City Musketeers in an OT victory here to start the season off for the USHL. So lots of hockey action here in Pittsburgh. It's been pretty awesome, and I was scrambling working a clock. You guys ever done that? It was insane.
Yeah,
keeping track of shots, working the clock, Murls. It's stressful.
That was my summer
down there.
job. My dad ran high school leagues. I would always keep the clock. But I don't know. Am I still owned by Green Bay Gamblers? They drafted me to the USHL.
Oh, today they won in overtime today. And if you want to talk about that, big Swedish kid named Larson from Hallsby, Sweden. I don't know where that is. Do you know where that is, Murls? Halsby, Sweden scored the overtime winning goal. I made a great call over the system. Overtime winner by what did I say? Larson in overtime.
Practicing.
I gave her that call.
The old RJ
Yeah.
overtime. Rest
All
in
right,
peace.
buddy.
All right, boys, keep kicking butt.
Guys, before we go any further, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Fresh ball fall is upon us, and you need to be in the festive spirit. Light a candle, get some pumpkin spice, and make sure your balls look extra nice with one of the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. It's time for nice flannels and cozy socks, but we can't forget to trim our balls. By now you've heard of them, but it's time to join the 9 million men worldwide using Manscaped. And get the kit that covers it all, the Performance Package 4.0. It starts with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology that reduces nicks and cuts to make raking the leaves a lot less painful. Plus, the lawnmower is a technical masterpiece. It has a 7,000 RPM motor, a multi-functioning on and off switch that can engage a travel lock, and a built-in 4000K LED spotlight to help you see parts of your body you haven't looked at in years. Once you've cleared the driveway, the Performance Package comes in hot with products to cool you down. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner. One to prevent stink and one to clear it up. With a soothing aloe vera formula, move over pumpkin spice, fresh balls, the smell of the season. The Performance Package 4.0 caps it off with 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. That's one to hold your Manscaped goodies and one to hold your man goodies. Bring in the fall right and get 20% off and free shipping with the code Chiclets at manscaped.com. That's 20% off of free shipping at manscaped.com and use code Chiclets. As the leaves fall, make sure you have it all with Manscaped.
Biz, you just mentioned the Caps. You might as well jump in on them. Last season, 80 points. They were 6th in the Metro, 25 out of 32 teams. Last time in playoffs, 2022, they lost in the first round to Florida. 75-1 to win the Cup this year. They do have a new coach in Spencer Carberry. They brought in Joel Edmondson via trade, Max Pacioretty on a free agent deal. Cap space, they're a little bit over, but again, it's still early. They could LTIR guys if they have to, but it feels like this is kind of going to be like the last run, this era of that team. I mean, they got Ovi. Willie got the nice big deal there, but Murls, let's go to you first on this. Where do you have the Caps going this year? Playoffs or whatnot?
Yeah, I got him out. I got him ranked 25th overall.
Wow.
I don't like them at all. I didn't like them last year. I had that call that they would be knocked out. I think they're only chasing the Ovi record. The one thing I'm looking forward to them, they signed this little guy, Phillips. You ever hear of this kid? He's in the AHL for Calgary for the last few years. He's a real big scorer. He could get on one of those top 2 lines with those guys, but I just don't see it. Like, Backstrom's not going to be that healthy. Like you said, Kuznetsov is...
What do you mean he's not going to be healthy?
He's coming back from the major hip surgery.
Impossible to come back from in a sense.
Well, he came back last year from it.
I know, but he didn't exactly look great.
Well, he had a full season, off season to fucking get it rehabilitated. Do you think Patrick Kane's never going to come back from his hip surgery?
I just think that at Backstrom age and how long he's played and how that's the same surgery that that Jovo had, I believe. And now, granted, it's completely different situations, but he was not able to do it anymore. And I think Backstrom's like, yeah, right. If he's second line center and Kuznetsov's number 1, I just don't know how much production you're going to get. I don't have him making the playoffs. I don't have him as bad as 25th overall in the league as Murls does. The one thing I'll say is if what's his name? If Mantha actually does something and like plays hard and lights it up, and then they get Pacioretty and he's healthy and he could play well, and they basically need like a bunch of big years from these guys. You know what Ovi's going to do, but I just don't see it. I don't see on D them having that much. I know Sandin looked pretty good when he came over.
Yeah, they're a little
Toronto.
thin on the back end.
Yeah, a little thin. And I guess you said if Kemper has a big bounce back here, Stanley Cup champ, that could happen.
That's the key right there. You never underestimate the heart of a champion, and they got a lot in that locker room. And you talk about guys who missed significant time last year. You talk about Backstrom, Kuznetsov missed time. Tom Wilson was out with a torn ACL. You obviously missed the heart of your power play and Carlson, who's feeding Ovi for the one-timers. Let's not forget about their center depth, too. Dowd's an incredible fourth line center. They brought in Dylan Strome last year, who was able to get good reps because of Backstrom's absence, who's able to put up some good amount of points. Oshie missed time last year. They got some fucking good players in that locker room. I agree with you. They're a little thin on the back end. I'm excited to see what Sandin can do with being given that, 20 to 22 minute range with not getting mind fucked in Toronto, where he's, all of a sudden being handed the reins and then they take him off him and then hand him back. And then all of a sudden he's out of the lineup and he's back in the lineup. No mind games there. He's going to have a chance to flourish there. Love the Edmondson pickup. You just mentioned Pacioretty. So they have a lot of old veterans in that locker room. The Mantha thing, I feel like some nights he looks a little bit disinterested, but with him getting called out because it seemed like he was maybe going to be on the trade blocks, I think he's going to have a big bounce back year too. A lot of heavy bodies there. I think they're going to sneak into playoffs, and look out, they could do some damage. So I got Washington making it.
Wow. Biz got him in.
Can we not agree? Can we not agree that that's a sneaky, pretty good center ice? Like Dowd is a fourth.
If Backstrom can be what he once was, yes. But if he's laboring around and has lost a complete step, then you're looking at, all right, I like Dylan Strome, and Kuznetsov's kind of the ultimate wild card. If he wants to play, he's incredible. If he doesn't, he's nothing.
Get him the wolf.
If you're correct in your statement that Backstrom had this full other offseason and he'll be back to the Nicholas Backstrom we've all seen, then yeah, that's a pretty sick center lineup if Kuznetsov decides to try. If not, it could be ugly.
And we haven't even talked about that Sonny Milano. Like he started showing some good signs of finally finding his NHL game. And I like their team. I like their team, especially with a long off season. A lot of time to get some rest, get back in the gym, get training, get healthy. I like them. I like the Caps.
Gee, what do you have the Caps this year, buddy?
I didn't have them as a playoff team 5 minutes ago, and Biz just made a very, very, very convincing case. I still don't have them making the playoffs, but Biz, that was incredible job. I'm on the borderline there. So no playoffs, but Biz made a very compelling case, and I think they're going to be better than they were last year.
They should put me on the fucking payroll after that stroke sesh.
They should.
Yeah, I don't have them getting in either. It was a tough year for them last year. New coach. It does feel like, I don't think they're just playing to get over the record here. They still have some good parts there. Carlson's still there. The D is, not one of the better ones. Carlson back. He's obviously a huge key part of that, but yeah, I just don't see them getting in. But you did mention Grubauer. I'm sorry, Kemper. I get them too confused all the time. If he can have a bounce back, they may challenge, but I just don't see it from right now. Time to move to the Carolina Hurricanes.
One last thing. Ovi is 72 away from tying, 73 from breaking it. How many at the end of the season do you think he needs? Basically, how many do you think he gets this year?
I think he gets 40. I think he'll have 32 to go.
Yeah, I think he'll be between 40 and 45, I would say. So keep abreast of that. But Carolina last year, 113 points, first in the Metro, second out of all 32 teams. They were swept by Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 8-1 to win the Cup this year. I think it's some new faces in town. Michael Button, a little sandpaper. Brendan Lemieux, a little more sandpaper. Dmitry Orlov, Tony DeAngelo, Caleb Jones on the defensive end. They said adios to Max Pacioretty, Shane Gostisbehere, Calvin DeHaan, Paul Stastny, and Derek Stepan. They got a little under $1 million in cap space right now, but this is a team, Biz, they've been knocking. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years ago. They have everything there. They got the coach. They just couldn't really break through last year. I thought they were terrific. Freddie Anderson was tremendous in that series. They just couldn't score. What's his name? Bobrovsky stymied them all series, but what do you got for us there, busy boy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can look at that series, and that was a type of series that could have gone 7 games. Mind you, no Teravainen and no Svechnikov. But I think that with the competence they have in net and a good 1-2 punch in Anderson and Ranta, that back end might be the nicest back end I've ever seen going into a season. Like it was good to begin with. We saw how Orlov played last year in Boston. Like he's getting inserted there. And on top of that, DeAngelo, let's not forget what he did when he went and revived his career there after the big gong show happened in with the Rangers. Obviously, the experiment in Philadelphia didn't work, and I don't know how much he liked it there or how much Torts had to do with that, but we know what kind of numbers he was able to put up when he played for Rod the Bod. So that top 6, probably the filthiest of any team in the league. I would say that people would argue that because Vegas are having their same 6 return, that you would lean towards them, but at least in the Eastern Conference. And as far as the forwards are concerned, you know exactly what you're going to get from them. They play their balls off night in and night out. They're going to win the division. They're going to make playoffs. This ain't rocket Scientology. Who wants it next?
They are so deep at every position. And the fact that they're starting the year without Svechnikov, it almost helps, right? I mean, just come playoff time, he's got a little more rest, right? Not dealing with the 82-game grind. I mean, do you guys remember the show he put on when we were at the Oilers-Carolina game where they made Edmonton look like an AHL team? At home, it's an incredible environment when they have a good team. You've seen all the struggling years when it's kind of a tough barn, but when they got a good team, the place is rocking. Biz talked about the D, best overall top 6 in the league, I'd say. I couldn't believe what I shouldn't say I couldn't believe, but Brent Burns going in there, 61 points, just almost a rejuvenation for him to be on such a good team again after the struggles in San Jose. They have every making of a team that can compete for the Stanley Cup. For some reason in my mind, I know they're an amazing regular season team. I got them winning the division again. I just don't know what it is that I don't look at them as Stanley Cup contenders. Contenders isn't the right word because they're right there, but I don't think that they can win the Stanley Cup for some reason. Maybe it goes back to how hard they go all season long. As Murls has always said, they just got no gas left in the tank, but an amazing team. Wouldn't be surprised at all if they're first in the East at the end of the year, and it's a fun team to watch play too. They got speed, they got depth, and the 2 goalies, even if one of them goes down, which it seems like one of those 2 are always injured, they got that other guy in there to step in. So a hell of a club.
Yeah, I'm like you, Whit. Like I could take them to win the President's Trophy, but I have them ranked like 6th overall in the league. Like just when it comes to playoffs, or if they were playing a team in a 7-game series, I'm not going to take them in that way. I love them. I got my hat down there last year at the Stadium Series, which was one of the greatest events I've ever been to in sports or anything. I got obviously in the playoffs. I got them 2nd in division. I want to see the Devils win the division. So that's it for me.
And me and G both have them in the playoffs. No surprise there. Moving right along to the Philadelphia Flyers. In the process of a rebuild right now. They were 7th in the Metro last year. 26 out of 32 teams. Last time in the playoffs, 2020, they lost in the second round. 150-1 to win the Cup this year. They brought in Garnet Hathaway, Ryan Poling, Sean Walker, Mark Stahl, Victor Mite, Cal Peterson. They said adios to our buddy Hazy, James Van Riemsdyk, Brendan Lemieux, Ivan Provorov, Kevin Connaughton, Justin Braun, Tony DeAngelo. Lots of turnover there. Basically, let's go to you on this, Murls, first on this one. If they're in a total rebuild here, like what is, Torts do? Is he just trying to rebuild this culture? I mean, they're obviously not going to get to the playoffs. What's the mentality of guys on that type of team that you're not going to the playoffs? How do you approach that season?
Yeah, I mean, with Torts, it's totally different than what I went through when we were in a rebuild. He's going to still get the best out of him, and that's almost like a problem. It's going to be the same problem they had this year where they're going to not get the top 3 pick. They're going to end up winning enough games because he's got everybody blocking shots. He's got everybody going 100%, and that's what's going to happen with them. But, Jonesy's in there, Briere's in there. I think they're going to turn it around quicker than people think, but they're 29th ranked in my rankings.
Yeah, it's almost like if before the 2010-2011 season, there was a hockey podcast and they were doing their previews, and then you got to the Oilers, the team I was on, it's just like, it's going to be a tough one. Like, I mean, Owen Tippett's a fun player to watch, right? Is it Morgan Frost? Is it Morgan? Am I fucking that?
Yep.
Right?
Yep, that's it.
He showed some glimpses last year. That's a guy that you look to take a next step. As a Flyers fan, you want him to lose. I've said this a million times. It's tough going to a game wearing a jersey and rooting for your team to lose, but in the end, that is what will help them. And Murls puts it best. They'll probably end up finishing like with the 6th worst record in the league and get the 6th to 8th pick, and you just don't get that game breaker franchise changing player. And maybe without Torts pushing guys' buttons and expecting excellence, even though there's not much there, they would be top 3 bottom team, but it almost hurts them that he's there pushing these guys, getting the most out of them, because they won't be a pushover. As much as lack of skill they have, the work ethic will be there, and there'll be nights that they get trounced, but there'll also be games that they're in because of how hard they go. So not much expectations, more for fans to check out some younger players, hope guys make big steps. Cam York's a defenseman who obviously has a pretty good pedigree and where he was picked and coming up and becoming a pro, but there's just not much excitement.
Biz, kind of hot.
I'm gonna save my energy. They're not making playoffs.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll save that
And
question.
just regurgitate what those guys said.
Me and G do not have them in as well. I just one thing I want to bring up, Carter Hart, not just because I have to say Carter Hart. He's heading into his 6th season. He's final year of his deal. He's going to be RFA, but I'm curious to see if he might get dealt. I mean, he's a top-notch goalie. They're in a rebuild. I don't know. Do you imagine he might want to get out of there, Biz? Like, he's been there 6-7 years, man. You don't want to be on a rebuild when you're 25 years old, do you?
Well, I don't think he has a ton of leverage in a sense of how he's played. I'm not throwing him under the bus either. It just hasn't been a very good team. It would probably be but it's also hard for another team to evaluate what he actually is, right? Like he hasn't played a lot of meaningful games. Maybe he did early when he first stepped in, but if I'm them, considering with maybe the numbers he's put up, I don't think you'd have to overpay him. So I would hang on to him until this team starts turning around, because like goalies, good goalies don't just come up that easily. So no, I would hang on to him.
All right, buddy.
There's other goalies that teams will be looking to go get rather than a guy like that. We talked about it. Gibson and then Hellebuck would be the first 2 off the list, in my opinion.
All right, moving on to the next team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Obviously, a lot of changes there lately. 59 points last year. They were last in the Metro, 31st out of the 32 teams. Last time in the playoffs was 2020, lost to Tampa in the first round. They're also 150-1 to win the Cup. Obviously, a new head coach, Pascal Vincent, Adam Fantilli. They got in the draft, Ivan Provorov, Damon Severson, great defenseman as well. They didn't really lose anybody from last year. Got a little under $5 million in cap space, but this team, I think they might surprise people this year with a little bit. I think they're going to be galvanized after what happened, and they got some good pots there. What's your take on them, buddy?
I agree with you. I don't have them making playoffs. I think that's kind of obvious, but I think you're going to look at a big time improvement on last year. And last year, if you remember going into the season with the Gaudreau signing, they were unexpectedly that bad last year. I didn't see that coming. So I think that with that, you're going to have some steps forward. I hope, as I said last week, that they're able to kind of come together as a group and deal with all that went down the past couple weeks with Babcock being gone. Pascal Vincent, as we said, deserves this job. He gets a chance to go in there. I'm looking at Fantilli. I think Fantilli can go in and have a monster rookie year. He should have a chance, if he has a great camp, to play on one of the top 2 lines, right? Line A, Line A is going to be right around a point per game. Should be good for 30 to 40, right? Werenski wasn't playing last year. An enormous loss. Maybe their best overall player. Can do it at both ends of the ice. Eat minutes. It's kind of a depth thing. I mean, they got some great top-end players. I think Gaudreau will be even better after his first year there. So I'm with you, RA, that they won't be a pushover. They'll probably be much better than last year while still not getting in the playoffs. I do wonder if it'd almost be better off if they did struggle again just to get another high pick. I know we're kind of regurgitating and repeating ourselves in terms of the bad teams, but it's going to be a better year for Blue Jackets fans. It's going to be a more competitive team, and you got some guys that I think will have big seasons there. And my call is Werenski's a monster all season.
Yeah, I think you're just more concerned at seeing certain individuals take strides, and also
Kent Johnson.
Like Kent Johnson, you want to see do well and take that next step. Obviously, you want to see Fantilli have a monster first year. Even that Texier, is that how you say it? Texier?
Yeah.
Texier. Is it French?
I think he's French.
Werenski and how he bounces
France,
back.
right?
Yeah. They got Provorov. Like their back end with the Severson pickup, like it ain't that horrible. So just overall, it's more of like seeing how certain guys are developing and or bouncing back from injury. Whether Laine is going to get somewhat of a heartbeat and maybe stick around longer than his contract. But yeah, overall, they're not making playoffs. But I'd like to see them have a surprising year. But you guys said it. You don't want to be drafting. You don't want to be drafting too high. You wouldn't mind. You wouldn't mind getting one of those lottery picks once again, just one more year to make a difference.
And in terms of Fantilli, we didn't see anything like that in college hockey as a true underage freshman since Jack Eichel. They both won the Hobie Baker. They were both draft eligible their freshman year as opposed to getting picked before their freshman season. And Eichel went in. He had 56 points and 24 goals his rookie year. So I think you could easily expect Fantilli to maybe even do a little bit more damage, maybe getting a bigger opportunity than Eichel got that first year. I don't remember exactly how often he was playing. I'm sure his minutes were great. But I think Fantilli getting 30 goals and 65 points is realistic.
Yeah, and the game is just easier for the younger guys now. It's more wide open. It's all smaller players, so it's a lot different than when Jack came in. I got him 24th overall, no playoffs, but I have him sniffing the wild card for a long part of the season and then eventually bowing out.
Merzlikins was bad last year. He was bad. So, right, we saw him play real well a year prior, so we'll see if he can bounce back. It's a bounce back season for a lot of guys, and Werenski just to get back healthy. So a better team, but not a playoff team.
Yeah, he's a guy you kind of root for, Elvis. I mean, he went through that awful traumatic thing, losing his best friend, his teammate a couple years before. That has to affect any guy. Just whatever you do for a living, it had to affect him. So, yeah, we'd love to see him bounce back. They missed 500 man games to injury last year. They're the youngest team in the league. I think they're going to have a huge bounce back. The Devils had a 49-point improvement last year. I mean, if Columbus were to ever do that, they would definitely be in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to get that high, but this is going to be a fun team to watch last year. You mentioned Werenski back. Fantilli, no doubt, is going to be fun to watch, but I don't think they're going to get back in this year, but certainly going to watch a lot of games. G said he doesn't have him back in the playoffs as well. So, but like I said, it's going to be a fun team to watch. Next up, Biz's favorite team, the Islanders. Fourth in the Metro last year, 15th out of 32 teams. They lost in the first round to Carolina, 50-1 to win the Cup this year. Didn't really do much as far as transactions. They brought in Julien Gauthier, Carson Coleman for depth moves. They lost Josh Bailey and Zach Parise, who could potentially still come back. 2 straight semifinal appearances. Then they kind of tape it off a bit. Basically, the Islanders don't do something soon, Biz. They're going to probably fall off here. But what do you got them doing this year? I know
they're going to hopefully get Bo Horvat playing like he was playing in Vancouver because he really struggled when he came over. The fan base started getting on him. And guys, I just think this team is so boring. They're so slow. Lou Lamoriello tried to bring back the hockey of the past, and it's really slapping him in the face. If it wasn't for their goaltending, they would probably be drafting in the top 5. Like it's.
I'll read Frankie's text. How about this? Pretty good breakdown.
Let's go. Okay.
And I think it's pretty realistic, and he's nuts, but he says a lot of talk about the Isles not making any moves, but they signed Horvat, Sorokin, and Engvall. As always, the players that are present need to play with their full potential. With the style the Islanders play, they cannot afford to have multiple guys have off years. Some teams can afford it when they have massive pop up top that could save their offensive production. The Islanders will use experience and chemistry as their strength this year. They are the definition of a team, and it shows. This team battled back to make the playoffs last year, and they'll never roll over. Sorokin is a top 3 goalie. Excuse me. I'm coughing because of how ridiculous this text is. Just kidding. Sorokin is a top 3 goalie and maybe the best goalie under pressure in the entire league. The team goes as he goes. Matt Barzal, he needs to be and will be the guy this year. He's healthy. He's never been in better shape in his life, and he's hungry. He knows what his contract is, and he knows what his role is and what he has to do. Brock Nelson needs to keep being Brock Nelson. Guy might be the best player on the team aside from Sorokin. Biggest thing to take a step forward will be the defense needs to figure out how to move the puck better. This is what I was going to say. One of the worst power plays in the league.
Take the shovel out of their hands.
One of the worst power plays in the league every single year. It's because they have no puck-moving defenseman. Devon Taves was the guy. Dobson needs to be the guy. Pulak needs to be the guy. They need to be better, and the offense will make it happen. Brock, Lee, Horvat, Barzal are enough to have a good power play. No more excuses.
I wonder if Lou's liking the second rounders that he got for Devon Taves.
What a horrible trade. I cannot decide. I don't think I have them making it, but I think it'll be the same exact thing as this year coming down. They needed Pittsburgh to lose. If you don't remember, if you forget, they're because of Sorokin. It's my same thing with the Rangers, and the Rangers are a better overall team. But with that goalie, it's really hard to pick against them. I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of leaning towards no. But put it this way, they're not easy to play against. They're always going to like clog it up in the neutral zone. You're not going to score a lot on them. So if their power play could be halfway decent and not god awful like every other season, and Barzal has a monster season, I could see him getting in. So I'm leaning no, but I won't be surprised if they get in to kind of hedge my bet a little bit.
Murls?
Yeah, I mean, Borelli's the Islanders insider for us. If he says Barzal's in the best shape of his life, that makes me excited because he's got to be an absolute superstar. That's their guy. He's got to be dominant. He'll drag Horvat along with him. And I don't have them making it. They will be right there, like you said, at the wild card. I got them 18th overall, and I got them 5th in the division. No playoffs.
No playoffs. G doesn't have them in the playoffs. And yeah, no, I don't either. I think as good as they are, that we said, Biz, they're kind of boring. The defense should bounce back. Horvat essentially kind of replaces Parise's goals, but I don't have him getting in either. But to copy Whit, Sorokin, man, his numbers since 2021, a minimum 120 games played, ranks first in save percentage, goals against, shutouts, and goals saved above expectation. So he's obviously a huge X factor for the Islanders. But
okay, guys. In thinking about this and looking at their roster, the line combo, like, is Ottawa, Detroit, or Buffalo better than them, though? I don't know, man. Like, they're fucking older. I know that's not a great thing, but it's a veteran team with the best goalie in the league.
Yeah,
it's not as easy to say they won't get in as you think, because if Barzal lights it up this year, if Barzal's a 90-point guy, for him to have that happen, their power play's got to be good. I think they. Fuck, I don't know what to say.
I was thinking you put Barzal up on top, just play 5 forwards on their power play, because whatever they did last year wasn't working.
No.
Yeah,
no.
That's the team I struggle the most with picking, because they with that goalie, they were in the playoffs last year. I don't know. But I do think Ottawa, Detroit, and Buffalo are going to be much better. We'll get to them later.
If the Islanders get in, I don't think any of Ottawa, Buffalo, or Detroit gets in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
If they get in, no, you don't want to play that team in the playoffs.
No.
Yeah.
Because of Sorokin.
Yeah.
Bingo, bango. All right, that's our Metropolitan preview. A couple more things before we let you all go. The Ryder Cup this week with Barstool, not Ryder, the Ryder Cup. Have you been watching that? And there was a big controversy. It was a 4 or 5. You could explain. I'm not the golf guy.
Yeah, so I don't like playing in scrambles. I think a lot of golfers that play a lot of golf, they enjoy playing their own ball. But scrambles are a blast, right? Especially if you're somebody who doesn't play a ton of golf. And that was a good way they did the first round. Yeah, Murls would love a scramble, right? You hit a great shot, you take your shot. It's perfect. So I didn't know this. Apparently in a scramble, the actual rules are when the ball goes in the hole, that's your team score. So what you're saying, or what I'm trying to say is, say you have a 10-foot putt. You got 4 guys in your group. They were doing 2-on-2. But say you got a 10-foot putt, and each guy gets a chance to make it. Well, if the first guy goes and misses by an inch, you know you're in for the 5. Obviously, one of the 4 people will hit the putt for 5. If you go tap the putt in, though, by the letter of the law in a scramble, which I didn't know, that is your score.
What?
I know. So what happened was
the other guys can't shoot. You can't just we're in for the.
So Minahan, who is a terrorist of a competitor, a complete lunatic, and obviously an enormous asshole when he wants to be, he was playing against Francis Ellis, part of Barstool, and Arian Foster, former NFL running back. Francis had about a 10-footer for birdie. And he putted it just past, and he went over and he knocked it in. And Kirk said, that's a 5. Now, I was watching this, not knowing the rule. I said, what? I said, he's just being a prick, right? Because obviously they would have made that. But no, the actual rule was that that's a 5. Now, it was kind of a Bush League move. That was Portnoy's argument that, like, the way they were playing, you still give the guy the chance at making the 4. But Minahan was correct in the fact that the rules are, and these guys, I think they're playing for $30,000. It's still going on next week as well. He said, no, that's a 5. So it went crazy viral. I think there was like 25 million views of the video.
Wow.
And obviously everyone had their opinion. And when you get into golf rules and golf stuff on Twitter, it's like this wild world of lunatics talking about different examples and rules and violations. So apparently that's what happened. Minahan got it right. And it was a 5 because he knocked it in. You're not allowed to do that. And it ended up standing up. That's actually what happened. But I didn't know that was a rule.
It's just common knowledge that it's like, okay, well, they're in for the 5. I just don't get why, because you didn't go in order?
No. So if he just marked it, obviously they would have made it.
That's just, I think that anybody can agree that's just being a straight up hardo.
Yeah. Yes, which he was being, but he also knew that in scrambles, that is the rule. So
Did it cost them that match? Who won that match?
Minahan did win that match. Minahan and Hank beat Ellis and Arian Foster. They had like another rules issue on another hole. I don't remember what that was, but it's actually awesome content. You got a Big Cats team versus Portnoy. They got a bunch of Barstool personalities. It's actually been pretty fun to watch. We couldn't do it. We were down at the draft and the awards in Nashville. And unfortunately, Barstool's doing a Barstool Survivor where they're having all the big dogs kind of come together and they're doing it's for $100,000. And
Wow.
I've had a bunch of people.
Is Portnoy or Big Cat in
Portnoy,
that?
Big Cat, KFC,
Whoa.
everyone's doing it.
Can we
And
do
you gotta-
that?
Well, dude, we were in, and that's what I was gonna say. Everyone had been asking me, why aren't you doing it? But it's during Chiclets Cup, so
Too many
yeah. So
conflicts.
unfortunate because it would have been pretty
Fuck.
fun. I don't know if after
How do
like
they not check that we're throwing our biggest event of the year?
that's
at that
Barstool
time?
baby. That's Barstool baby. But
I would have loved
yeah,
to
check out
see
the
you two
check
work
out the
in that
Ryder
game.
Cup. Check out the Ryder Cup on YouTube.
Survivor. What type of events are they doing? Are they doing like you have to live in the woods?
No, you're living in the office.
In the office, yeah.
That's
And then
why
you gotta
after
vote
like a
people
night
off. It's a whole
after a night or
manipulation of
two,
everything.
I've never watched Survivor either. I guess it's all about making
Aliases and
Alliances.
Head games.
or
alliances.
Alliances. So
and-
it's
yeah.
And then at the end, whoever you voted out has to pick the winner, so you can't piss them off too much. It's tough.
But $100K going to the winner, I would have loved to be a part of that. But like I said, after 2 nights in the New York City Barstool office, I might have just like started sabotaging myself to get out and sleep in an actual bed. But it'll be. I think the Ryder Cup is some of the best content I've ever seen, and I think that this Barstool Survivor with all the big guys being a part of it, I think when that video comes out, it'll be absolute must-watch stuff. So unfortunately, we're not going to be there. We got the Chiclets Cup. We got Biz. We have Biz trying to grab a title. We got more important fish to fry. We will be in Buffalo in 2 weeks.
And we were supposed to drop Terry Ryan on this podcast, but because we went so long with not only the Nico Hischier interview and all the breakdowns and the 45-minute start about Murls' placenta eating and pill creation, we're going to bump him back to next week, but he was electric.
Must
so
listen.
Must listen. We got some great
Oh my
stories
God.
coming.
Unreal.
We love you guys. And that's pretty much, hey, shout out to the TNT crew. Love you guys. Happy to be back.
Peace.
Have a great week, everyone.
If you're in Ireland, in Dublin, I'll be there Thursday, Friday night. Come say hello.